push now is shaped towards an A site. They just blew a hole in the top of that staircase too, so they can sit player and admin, look towards the doorway to the A site. They haven't seemed to be aware, however, of Bibu flanking up from underneath here now, and he can do a lot of damage
still has
to the
a
floor
C4.
of this site with the C4,
Yeah.
He can completely stop the plant too if they let him get underneath them in A site. Zephyr picking up two though as they are trying to push in A. Zephyr on smoke, just holding this doorway firm. It's the Blackbeard and the IQ that are taken out now. He's only lost half of his health. Amaze sprints through that smoke charge down to the Visa staircase, gets him around behind Bibu, and he will trade the kill back that way. Skybu on this toilet window is traded off Sangrel, so we are in even numbers. But what a shot from Skybu. Takes Spark out inside the connector, giving the attackers the advantage, but only momentarily before Zephyr picks up his third kill of the round. He's looking to keep going down. He's got the diffusers around the corner, but he didn't know it, so Ericor will trade him out and give them a 2v1 in favor of the defense. Make that a round done. Skybu darts across the top of the desk, takes out the final defender, puts that attacking win on the board. After a very slow start, that ended all in a very, very fast-paced engagement.
That was a very interesting round from both teams. The defensive team was obviously playing a little bit more aggressive than you would expect, especially considering they had control of both the sites. And all the attackers really had in that situation was admin. They had Visa, but it's not really enough for them to move on. And the defenders were trying to force it out. Smoke did get some good frags to deny them access to the site, but it was too aggressive, and ultimately he paid the price for it. But now, moving into the next round, we see an Echo coming out on a Prox. Now, Echo is something we've been seeing a lot more of on Xbox, not so much on PC, and he's been making a great effect over here on the Xbox team.
So, time now for Lucky7's first defense, and they're doing exactly what we saw Euronics do earlier on. They start down in the basement instead of going upstairs. They are bringing themselves an Echo to the table instead of the smoke, which did work out very nicely for Euronics earlier on today, but we've seen Echo do a lot of work here on Console throughout the course of our first quarterfinal.
And we talked about earlier, we've talked about it time and time again, really, about how Consulate is one of those maps where every single bomb site is technically viable. They all have their own little niches and ways of holding them. And you can work around pretty much any sort of attack with them. So it all comes down to what you as a team are interpreting the bomb site as and how you're going to handle it. Like, for example, this is interesting. They're going to be trying to hold a lobby, or at least the bathroom area, with a castle next to the front door to try and deny that piano and deny the vertical game down onto the basement.
I like it.
I think it's going to be good. I'm really excited to. I want to know if it's going to work, but I would venture a guess to say it would very well.
I like that camera. You hide it sneaky behind the sign.
Yeah.
Very rare for anyone to turn around and then down the staircase, but nice drone bait. Zephyr with a quick shot onto Skybu through the hole in the wall he made to rotate out of toilet as he just peeks his head a little bit too far around, trying to catch that drone as it scuttles past, giving the attackers an early lead.
And it was a good idea, but unfortunately he didn't actually do anything in that position.
Yeah.
And it's not going to waste any time at all.
No, but they are still droning and making sure there's no one else around it. They do still have to get through the castle barricades, but they are safer in the grand scheme of things. We do have two hatches they may want to blow, so Hibana has a spare charge and could use it here on that castle barricade should they want to make it.
If that Valkyrie goes to Visa stairs and tries to pressure from Visa, she could still waste quite a lot of time.
Yeah, she can flank up at the right moment.
But she looks like she's going to be a little bit more passive.
Yeah, but it's always an option that she could do later on.
Right.
They are now looking to try and make their way in through the garage door, which means putting thermite nearby. Batteries are already pre-placed, so the EMPs are going to go out. He's taking it on and off as if he's like worried about a battery trouble for a second, but when you put it on like that, it was in the middle of two panels, so that could have been battery trade for two of them if he was actually doing it. So
they probably had a drone on the inside calling it or something.
Yeah, but like the caution, the pulling it off halfway through was just, I don't know, questioning.
And here we have Hibana taking out the drops. Now we've seen so far on Consulate, so today, I think the previous teams, they actually didn't run Hibana on the basement attack. They weren't trying to get those drops open. And it's really cool to see Lucky7, they're conscious of, or sorry, rather, Supremacy are conscious of the fact that they can have all the things open. You don't have to choose.
So, upstairs, three remaining members of Supremacy were running amok, but Amaze peeks up and takes one of them down before Zephyr will trade him back and take him out himself. Zephyr, however, it does look, was downed in the process, so right now it is only 3 active players against 3. The Capital is injured on the staircase, I believe. With 45 seconds to go, though, they don't have a whole lot of time to revive him, but thankfully there was one more teammate left upstairs. Ash was still on the top floor with it, so she's got him up. Now 36 seconds, back to a 4v3. Ezen is holding and covering the staircase. They're bringing Echo forward, but he will fall down quickly as Sangul picks him up. The Bandit by the white car gets the first man through the drop. Sangul's at the front of the white Bandit. He just stopped the plant. Raphael will trade him back afterwards though. Valkyrie rushes on forward and straight into the open arms of that thermite without even pulling the trigger. Raphael, very nice reactions to flick back and forth and shut down the push coming his way.
That was some controlled aim. And a good attack, just really basic, nothing complicated at all. They got that pick on the player in Piano, but that didn't actually affect the round almost at all. They didn't try to take control of, or they did, but they didn't really use it to any like sort of advantage. They didn't use it to kill the guy, White Van, or Pillar, or Pipes. They just kind of pushed in through Garage and won their engagements. There was nothing complicated about that round. It just seemed lost engagements.
As many bombs as they can.
But now, Lucky7, or sorry, Supremacy going to be defending upstairs again. Going to try and hold this one out. They did lose last time to an admin take, which again, we haven't seen so much of today. We'll see if they'll be able to handle it this time, or if the Lucky7 is going to mix it up and try something new.
So, no real reason to mix it massively.
You know, we did see, we have seen a lot of teams though, like for example Envy on that Clubhouse match we saw earlier today. They do mix it up, even if their attack strat is winning consistently. They change it every time to try and keep the other team on their toes.
Yeah. And
we'll see just right now if Lucky7 is one of those teams, or if, like you said, they're going to go with what works.
So, Bibu once again down and underneath the Visa floor, looking for those heartbeats, looking for someone running straight on inside, looking for the quick C4 killer, someone on a window frame, if you can help them with that early advantage. Didn't jump out there this time. They were also ready for it, spawn the majority of them at a different angle, just in case. He's got Raphael down here to help him out as well, looking at the other side. So they've got Pulse covering the east, and Jaeger covering the west side of that basement, keeping track of everyone that's nearby.
All things aside, the information that Bibu is getting there, even if he doesn't kill anyone in Visa, the information he's getting is substantial. The knowledge that there is a player even on that end of the map is just important. It means that they can focus on trying to actually hold their admin this time. It doesn't look like they're going to. Looks like they're going to just let the Lucky7 walk their way in like last time, but at least they'll be ready for that push this time.
Yeah, Zephyr has that hole of the staircase again and is sitting there with his SMG-11 looking and waiting for someone to come leaping on in, take out their kneecaps. But Blackbeard came through a different window, which means he's allowed to get around to the edge here. They have got, I think, a reinforcement on that front wall so he can't get banged through it, but they are starting to once again close in on him. Now, he did a great job with the pump-action shotgun holding this doorway last time, but they can't fall for the same thing again, can they? So picking up those 3 kills like he did before shouldn't be on the table.
No, certainly not. And this is some really aggressive gameplay here from Blackbeard. He's trying to get the angle onto the players playing on the other side of the map, but it's just, they're not gonna peek that, especially once they figure out it's Blackbeard challenging.
Skybu then downstairs and underneath is using those grenades from below to try and clean out the A site and try and shift Zephyr from his location. It worked for a moment or two, but as soon as the grenade was off, Zephyr goes back inside and holds firm again. Supremacy holding that far side, holding the west side of the map now very, very firm. Batteries on the walls to Blackbeard's left means the Sabana charge that they're trying to fire past it and onto the wall to open it up isn't going to succeed either. He's edging his way forward, and while the damage on those batteries isn't a whole lot, every time he touches one, he's going to yell. It's going to make noise. They're going to realize how far down the pathway he's got because of that scream. That allows this Valkyrie to hide deep inside the toilet and know when exactly Blackbeard's coming forward. Skybu there goes one, grabs the second one as Zephyr will fall. Raphael will trade back, but Amaze gets one of his own. The diffuser is down as Sangul peeps out from the toilet, but Ericor has taken Bibu down, leaving Sangul alone now in this room. Vash is down, Habana is low, but this sledge is still very, very healthy and coming up on the right-hand side. Diffuser has been picked up, and now they're going to run back towards the A site. There's Skybu inside the B site, and he wasn't ready for that. With a great angle, Sledge rounds out the round for Lucky7.
Yeah, that was a well-played round by Lucky7. They pushed in from their admin, but they also kept Sledge on the B windows to apply pressure and kill the rotations, and he did just that. When Supremacy was trying to rotate to hold their admin push, specifically in the main hall, Sledge was there to capitalize on that, and I think he got 2 kills before the Valkyrie. But regardless, did some great frags.
Yeah, that just... All right, we've got everyone in. We've used our 5-man to push inside the building. We're starting to get control of it. Now, you go around, you go underneath, there's some grenades, you come up from the other angle, and just make sure we have a little bit extra.
Do the harassing, deny the angles, do the unexpected. It's perfect. Lucky7, though, having won their basement defense, are now going to be defending upstairs, which is, I think, personally, the better site overall. But I'm curious to see if the reason that Lucky7 defended basement first is because they're not comfortable on upstairs. Maybe this is the site that they don't want to be playing on. It looks like they're going to be doing more of a typical European setup from what we can see, where they're manipulating the upstairs, entire upstairs to their advantage, and something they're used to using. I think they messed up one of the rotation holes in Printer, but I think they'll make do.
Yeah. So, in again comes the Supremacy attack. Now, this time Lucky7 hoping to keep their castle alive a little bit longer, I'd imagine, because they've moved everything onto the upstairs. Still using that adaptation, that molding that you can do in these bomb sites through the destruction, through the castle barricades to give them some different avenues of movement, some different paths to rotate through.
And we are going to be seeing what looks like another admin attack. But this time, Lucky7 is actually going to be defending admin. They're not going to let, unlike Supremacy, they're not just going to let him walk in.
And they're going to defend it well with Ericor picking up a quick kill.
Yeah, there it is.
Onto Zephyr as he still repels on the window. Sprays at the other window there. Bibu was actually very close to that, but he just about survived it. Bibu though peeks on up, and you don't need a heartbeat sensor to see that, Hibana. The shot's raining in as she sticks her head around the window. Bibu has to reload though, and gives Ericor a chance to dart back away to a little bit more of a safe position over by the copy room. He's still staying close. He's still trying to spray on the windows that are open and make sure no one else is coming in while Bibu distracts him. A couple more drones are coming to check for him. He takes them out with ease, actually. But now it's time for Spark to start repelling up by that window as well. Brings in a friend, and that friend has the diffuser in Fail's hands. So the C4 is going to come up and over. It's going to blow a little bit too inside the window and not touch either of these repelling players. But again, every second they're spending here trying to deal with him, they're not inside the room. The pressure is not there, and Spark had a beautiful opportunity to actually kill the Pulse there. Misses out on it, but Bibu will get him seconds later.
Yeah, Ericor getting a little too antsy there. Probably could have just stayed in that corner and played a little bit more passively. But regardless, he wasted half of the round and did get a kill, so he traded back efficiently.
Yep, and they are now still very aggressively, as far as the defense goes, holding this room. Yes, they've got players in the admin, but thanks to these reinforcements, thanks to the castle barricades, it's tough for Supremacy to get out of admin now. They've got to go through another pair of chokeholds with an MP7 waiting in one of them.
This hole that stopped Pulse from retreating also won't let Thermite through.
So, the castle now firing in from the vending machines. Starts to lose that fight to Bibu, who's now got edge forward, but again, there's an MP7 on the right-hand side now. They can't negate the check here. Bandit went all the way back, so they droned it out and pushed him away, and Spark's heading up through that room as well.
But only
36 seconds on the clock, and they've still got to get near a site. There's still 3 Lucky7 players left alive on defense, and it's a smart fallback that Amaze pulled off here. He's still got great control of this entire desk corridor, great control of this entire side of the map, and the A site is still in Lucky7's hands. Hole has been, I believe, blown open the back wall, which is forced him back a little way. Amaze darts through the shots from Sangwa there. Bibu's under the window, so he has to stay prone so he doesn't stand up. Azen runs on inside, and the 2 fireways coming his way take him out. Amaze and Aprox will immediately trade back 2 kills of their own, meaning that Sangwa and Spark are the last 2 members left. Diffuser's picked up, and Spark will begin putting it down, but has to cancel it.
No,
he gets down from through the wall.
Just a little bit too much time wasted in admin.
Blind wallbang.
Yeah.
Downed him.
What a fantastic job.
Very nicely played by that Valkyrie left in the... I think it was actually the Bandit left in the corridor at that point.
Yes.
That was Amaze. That was the fall back from admin, the fall back and keep himself alive. I mean, he can come back forward at that last second.
Rushed in the last second, got a kill, ran back out, killed someone from the corridor, downed Ash from the corridor. It was a great job by Amaze. And moreover, also a good job by Pulse, wasting that time in admin. I don't think it was entirely intentional. After he got the first kill, it looked like he was trying to retreat, but couldn't make it through the rotation hole. But in the end, it ended up working out for him. So, you know, if it works.
And this is the Lucky7 that we saw in the closed qualifiers. This is how they got themselves here. They have a great handle on when to be and when not to be aggressive in their defense. having that pulse in admin, being aggressive for that first man repelling, gives him that early kill.
Yeah.
Then just played safe, played hidden, did peek every now and again, but never to try and shoot, just to confirm he was still there, just to confirm he was still on this window, just to make sure they were still around and he still had their attention.
Right.
And stayed alive for well over a minute 30, minute 45 seconds, as you saw. And then when it came back to, all right, we have finally lost control of this admin. We've got players very close by. Let's check the cameras, let's check our drones, just make sure it's safe. No, it's not. Let's fall back. Let's fall back. Bandit kept dropping back a bit further away until, yeah, it comes down to the last 30 seconds of the round, and they still got a lot of players left alive in strong positions. Maybe tries it again with that spawn peek out towards police line this time, but again, he does actually tag the sledge up this time, takes no damage of his own, but can't succeed in anything more than that. Now they know he's on the floor below, but they're going to be checking that anyway.
Is this a B take, or are they? No, looks like they're going to admin still. So both teams have, so far, every time attacking upstairs, been going to admin. Lucky7, though, they are the ones who mix it up. They will be putting someone on the B windows to, again, watch that rotation and keep an eye out for the players who are going to be moving from B itself to defend A.
So Prox runs across the two.
And looks like connector as well this time.
Yeah, they are definitely checking both ends of the map this time to decide where they want to go in first.
It's worrisome a little bit that they're so spread out. It means if one of them gets picked, then they're going to be losing a lot of force on either the end of the map.
Yeah, the chances of trading those kills back the other way are also very low. So Blackbeard on the B windows, I don't think surprises anyone. Sledge is on the connector window. Drones are checking out and looking at the toilet. Sangor was spotted in there by that one, but he killed it off quickly. Bibu's still on the floor below right now, running around and trying to find an opening. And if he gets out this garage door, that Blackbeard is low-hanging fruit. No one else has been around there to help with any kind of claymore or to watch that door frame, so it's possible. Rafael, meanwhile, has jumped straight out of the connector window, takes down one man that was hanging on there. It's the Blackbeard, took him down as he jumped out of, I think it was actually Piano, and took out the Blackbeard that was hanging on B windows. Bibu gets Skybu, who is here waiting for Rafael to come back in through the front door. He was ready to clean that kill up, and Bibu comes up the yellow staircase to shut him out. Zephyr back on this via A bomb site, back on the Visa stairs, peeks around with a pump action shotgun to take down Capitao, trying to push in aggressively, and just like that, Lucky7's attack has crumbled.
Yeah, Ash in an interesting position. Probably not going to be able to ace it out with you're completely surrounded, but Hiroki playing this slow game with Bibu, which is not necessarily the best idea, given that he has a pulse sensor, but see if you can make it work. Oh! Never
mind, the pulse sensor didn't show him what he needed. He sprints straight into Ericor's crosshairs. Gets one bullet off, but Ericor gets the kill at the end of the day. Sangor now inside the toilet, does begin the firefight with that Ash in the top of the corridor. While he gets downed, he gets the kill himself, and Rafael has moved downstairs to take down Hibana and seal the round for Supremacy. It was a nice play by the defending team to do exactly what you said. They realized the attackers were so spread out. They realized there was like one on every window. They weren't properly covering each other. We can safely go aggressive here and pick off 1 or 2 kills without them trading back properly. And yeah, they take the Blackbeard down. Then everyone on the attacking team says, oh, there's a free man detected outside. Focuses all attention towards where he's going to come back inside. Negate anything else that might be around. So that's a free kill there for Pulse as he rotates out from below. And quickly followed by Capitao dying to that smoke inside the A site.
Yeah, but now Lucky7 going to be defending that basement. They had a pretty good job, or they did a pretty good job of defending it last time. The mistake that Supremacy made on this last attack was they did actually use their Hibana to open up drops, and they did take control of Piano. They even got an early pick, but they did not bother to utilize that space they opened up. They didn't open any of the seat or the floor to capitalize on killing the people behind White Van or Pillar or what have you. And because of that, when they just rushed in through Garage, they lost the round.
So down into the basement again, it goes Lucky7's selection of site. Skybu did this before, but remember he stuck his head a little bit too far out of the toilet. That again. Got kicked off from the window. Yeah, should not be doing that again in any case. So Petron runs past, he'll let it go this time. See if staying alive in here longer will actually help them much at all, or will Supremacy have up the sleeves to flush him out this time round. As it is, Spark spawning Lone Ranger down by the Visa side of the map, down by the east side of the map, will skirt his way back across the edge before approaching that front door and follow Bibu's drone in.
I think I was saying earlier about how they lost this round, but I'm pretty sure that Supremacy actually won this last attack.
Ash charge is going off.
Don't get
taking out
baited.
The barbed wire pushing forward. Skybu takes that drone out and stays safe in doing so, but he is now surrounded from multiple different angles. If you look, Lucky7 have players downstairs, but Supremacy have players at every window and in through the front door.
Just not watching.
Yep, walks straight up behind Skybu, who's looking the other way.
I think
Aizen, though, will trade a kill back onto Spark, takes the Ash out, who was trying to follow that Hibana in the front door and also didn't pay attention to his surroundings, got taken out from that spiral staircase. Then Aizen gets away safely enough to survive it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Amaze is actually now starting to come up the Visa staircase and perform, or get ready to perform, a late flank.
To be honest, that castle, they're just giving him too many angles to watch all at once, too many rotation holes. It needs to be cut and dry, like you, this hole, that hole, and maybe reinforce the door, but 3 different angles into the same tiny little room where you have nowhere to hide. It's pretty hard to manage that.
Zephyr here inside piano on his own. Bibu is droning inside the toilet. Zephyr, that sledgehammer noise would have been heard. Bibu's drone is running the wrong way, won't have seen him. He's going to stand up, be very aggressive. Didn't see the sledge! Goes straight in towards the toilet. It's coming around behind Bibu right now, but doesn't even know it himself. We're playing Ring Around the Roses with ghosts. And Amaze decides it's time to hide in a corner. He is right between 2 of them. Now Bibu's going to spot him though, and he's going to win that firefight with seconds to spare before Zephyr comes around and trades him out. Goes straight 1 for 1. That could have been very, very painful for Supremacy, but they held on. Error Core inside the white van, goes very low there fighting Rafael, but gets out with his life intact after picking up a kill of his own, leaving it 2v3. That Echo is incredibly low, but he still has his drone that he can sit safely and use that for this last 45 seconds of defense.
And here's Supremacy actually utilizing their vertical now, not just forcing their way into the garage. And he's going to try and get this angle on Hiroki. Oh, I think he sees the feet.
I think he sees the feet. Yeah, he does. And as he tries to step up and run away, Zephyr will get the kill, making it a 2v2 for the last 29 seconds. Right at the back of the kitchen now, Valkyrie Aizen is using the fight onto Rafael. The drop has come through from Zephyr in towards the connecting corridor as well, but he's taking that fight in towards A. SMG 11 in hand, he switched it out, and Aizen can't get the Desert Eagle off in time, so Zephyr gets the kill. Over by Pipes now is a prox, and he misses the shots on Zephyr, which allows Rafael to push up and clean him out. Supremacy will level it out with a good last 15-second 2v2 from this pairing.
And now it's a 3-3, like you said, leveled out completely. Both these teams having a great showing on Consulate. It's back and forth.
Lucky7 then back onto attack. They're going to be attacking the basement themselves. Supremacy having held that top floor last time with mere seconds to spare, just stopping the plant. Means they've now got to think again, readjust, go downstairs. We have had mixed success in doing it, as there we just saw have Lucky7. So we'll see what they've got up their sleeves. Bibu, still on their pulse, is going to be very mobile in the earlier rounds. He's going to be very aggressive at the starting points. We'll see if one of these aggressive peaks ever pays off for him, or if he's going to keep missing by fractions of a millimeter.
Yeah, you can see on the scoreboard there that a lot of the kills on both these teams are in the top 3 players. Predictable setup coming out from Supremacy here on the basement. No castle for them, and they're not going to be trying that. And so far, I don't blame them. It hasn't been working for Lucky7 at all. And is in fact, you could almost attribute some of their round, or both of their round losses down there to that. I mean, the castle is a good idea. I like the thought of it, but it's poorly executed. 3 different rotation holes into the site, and nothing to really stop them. Yes, the castle barricade, but that was what happened to that? It was just Ash. She ran right into you, and there's too much to watch all at once. This is interesting. What is Bibu up to?
Bibu standing on the railing to give an aggressive peek over towards the gas station spawn. No one walks into his sights before he falls on off though, but again, it's these aggressive players that we're used to seeing from him now at the start of these rounds. One of them one day is going to pay off big time.
Yeah.
Question is, what round are they going to be on when it does? How big is it going to impact the series? Because if he keeps trying, it's going to get closer and closer to a pivotal round. As it is though, the rest of his team are holding firm inside the garage itself. Spark over by White Van, Smoke and Sangul there over by the pipes themselves.
They're extremely spread out, really. They have players on the other end of the map, all the way up on the top floor. For basement defense, having someone in admin is kind of scary.
Essentially, he's holding the second thermite charge. I'm not entirely sure what or why he's doing it.
Well, sometimes if you plant a thermite charge on one panel and you start breaching it and you immediately go to open up the other panel, Bandit or whoever's playing next to the garage wall will rush out and try to trade it back.
It's true, but when you've got 2 players out there with you and drones inside feeding you info,
Yes, of course. But
I'd have felt confident enough to do it, but
you'll still probably you still usually get the thermite.
yeah. So now he heads on forward, and we'll think about doing the next one as the wall is being held. But thanks to the hesitation in it, that Bandit had a chance to walk forward and put a battery on that extra wall. So he has to wait a little bit longer for that to get killed off before he can put the next charge down. He's also got Sangral Smoke there over by Pipe still, as I mentioned, that has a huge Tom Brady arm on him these days. He can throw the smoke charges all the way over towards that door from there. And when they are looking to pressure him, when they are looking to finally get in through that door, Smoke's going to push them straight back out again.
Now, Lucky7, similar to Supremacy, is also opening up the drops with their Habana. But Bibu with an excellent pick onto Skybu.
As always, has been lurking, roaming, looking around the other areas of the site. And, well, someone walks into his heartbeat sensor on the top floor and he'll take them straight out. Zephyr was also roaming around the backside of Visa and looking for someone else not paying attention. Now that they've already taken one out, he said, all right, 45 seconds to go. We've already got one kill. I'm going to go back and play safer. I'm going to go back and play near the site.
Great.
He's now got a great crossfire going with that Valkyrie if anyone tries to come in towards the A site in the kitchen. No one from Lucky7 is doing those. They all are all in piano and around yellow and outside the garage door. So they are going heavily for the garage side itself, for the B bomb. Dropped and swapped over to Amaze from Hibana as he's now looking to head down the yellow staircase. Pulse is going to come down around behind him. Ericor has been taken out inside the kitchen by Rafael. Down behind them comes as the Pulse, and down goes the Diffuser. Bibu picking that one up as Spark grabs as in elsewhere. Ash is the only remaining attacker left standing, and Rafael does not make her last for long. We put Supremacy onto match point. Nice shot. She sprints straight across the giant open wall. Supremacy then trailed a little bit for the early half of this map, and now 1 round away from going on to border with a lead. And now we talk about it briefly on the desk, and we talked about it before, like Vitality and Supremacy are very close friends. They were all the way through the Season 3 finals. They played each other in the final, but they could not be...
I remember at the Season 3
They were
finals.
rooting for each other in some ways more than they were rooting for themselves in some of the interviews. And now, as Vitality training to come here with your invite, Supremacy is your go-to training team. To me, that logically makes sense.
Right.
With their friendship. And Vitality were one of the first teams across PC and Xbox to play Border a lot and competitively. Back when it first came out, back when it was first there, they kept trying to bring in Border out and kept trying to bring strategies in. So if they are that training team, when they are working together, Supremacy are going to have great knowledge of Border.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think that's going to give them a leg up when we get to it. But what you were talking about with Supremacy and Vitality, and especially about the cheering. I remember at the Season 3 finals, the crowd was so loud when Supremacy was playing, and equally so when it was Vitality playing, and the reason being was almost always because it was the other team in the crowd cheering for their friends. And it was great to see after they played against each other. All the hugs, man. All the hugs. It was a great experience.
Skybu then looking to have an aggressive peak of his own. His is a little bit safer at the moment, so he's holding it a bit longer.
Haven't seen
Spark
this one in a
is
while.
now coming this way just as he decides to look away. Looks back. Spark, however, is pixels away from being in his sight line. And now he's too close to the building. You can hear the feet running around. He'll smash it just to make them think twice. There you go. You can see Spark suddenly
Like, wait a minute.
notice of the room above him,
Is that a broken window?
but stays close to the building to stay safe. Checks his drones and checks his admin, and once again, Supremacy looking to push in through the admin windows, looking to push in through this east side of the building, but Lucky7 have their defense set up for it. They're ready to receive it and ready to pick off the operators that are coming on through those windows.
And this is the same exact attack that we've been seeing this whole match on the Consulate upstairs. Just going in through admin, and this time no pressure onto B, but straight up pressure going right into admin. There's nothing else happening here. There's Spark trying to hold Visa to deny Pulse from C4ing from underneath, but that's pretty much it.
This time they didn't play quite so aggressively inside admin though, Lucky7, so that allowed Bibu to get inside. He's got support now from Capital on his right-hand side. But there, as we said before, still have to get out of admin now. With the castle barricades, with the reinforcements, it's not an easy task.
Yeah.
Can see feet underneath that castle barricade and is taking his best to do some damage to them. Skyboot takes a little bit for it. He's about 50 health now after getting tapped in the feet a couple of times, but he falls back and is largely in a safe place. Amaze hiding between the vending machines and the wall waiting for anyone to peek around and then put themselves in his spot. Skyboot is still dancing through these shots. Amaze decides now is the time to fall back. Still a minute to go. They've got a lot of time burnt off this clock and no real damage done by the attacking team. Skyboot takes a bit more there as he darts across as that castle barricade is blown up, and now he gets grounded underneath. They need to be aware that he's now escaped. They could be punished by him coming back up later on. Spark, though, is down there waiting for him, and they are having a bit of a skirmish down in Visa, but neither of them doing any serious damage or killing the other. Skyboot inside there has to deal with the Ash on the window. 40 seconds to go, and Spark will finally kill Skyboot, but they have still got to pressure a site, and there's 4 defenders left alive. 30 seconds to go. And they're going to come down to the wire. There's still a lot of barbed wire left up. There's still a lot of positions, castle barricades here, but they have to get through to get into this site. And with their, 5 players on attack, one of them has to stop what they're doing to plant the diffuser, in which case it becomes a 4v4 for a moment. So with 15 seconds to go, they've got to decide what they're doing fast. Ericor is pinned inside the site, will be taken out by Zephyr. Now in through the windows they come. The shots are coming from a distance. Aizen picks up one, Bibble will trade back another. The diffuser gets dropped, but picked up immediately by Hibana. 3 down players in the site, and it's an easy final kill for that Valkyrie to peek around and finish off.
An excellent round from Lucky7, putting it to 4-4 now, and we will be seeing overtime on Consulate. Just barely saved that. That was extremely close, despite the fact that that came down to the wire in the very last couple seconds, 12 seconds, I believe, when they started going in.
Yep.
The defenders were still getting picked off quite a lot, and it could have easily gone in the way of Supremacy. That really just came down to trade, and one more.
So on to overtime. Supremacy are going to go and defend that top floor once more. Bibu has done work in this situation before, hanging from below, looking around Visa, checking before, coming up at the right time, picking up 1 or 2 important kills. They haven't been, neither team really has been doing a good job watching their flanks when they've been pushing aggressively in the final couple of seconds. First one to learn how to do it is going to get a nice advantage, but
I think it's interesting that both of these teams attack in almost identical ways, and yet they don't seem to be able to know how to stop each other on that top floor.
So the attack now brings a Twitch to the table, which is something a little bit different for Lucky7. There was a Capitao on the previous ones. They've also brought Buck into the mixture, so they do have something up their sleeve. They do have something different planned for where they're going to attack this, or for how they're going to attack this. They might attack from exactly the same location, but they do have slight changes. Bringing that shotgun instead of Capitao and bringing Twitch in here as well. So we'll see what exactly it is.
Bibu's still trying to get that rail peak.
Yeah, it's a bit late for that, buddy. It's
late and it's kind of risky.
Yeah, they're all up against the building. No one spawned around that area. Now, he does decide to go downstairs and play a little bit safer in the basement, but a Prox is dropped in just outside that yellow stairs doorway. Plants a Claymore down so no one can peek on out. So they're going to put that Blackbeard up on the B windows. Something that they fell to last time was allowing a player to jump out of Piano and pick him off. Rafael jumped out of there, picked off the Blackbeard with no cover. And this time a Prox is here. He's covering it. The grenades are coming into the toilet and do tag Sangul, but can't finish him. Skybu, on the other hand, the man throwing those grenades, has taken a lot of damage already.
And this is a much different attack than we've seen so far on this upstairs. Lucky7 spreading themselves out. And ultimately, yes, they are on... Well, actually, moreover, they're kind of... I think they're setting up for a B take entirely. There's no admin presence at all. And I'm kind of worried, though, because this Bibu is in a really excellent position to counter this, even with that Claymore. And
the Claymore, again, could have been bypassed because he'd blown open the garage door with a C4, so he could just run out and pick the Blackbeard up from below. But he steps a bit too far wide when Twitch is paying good attention, and a great set of shots come through from a Prox to finish that pulse off and down below. And this attack now from Lucky7 is going to be even more confident, not having to worry about that man downstairs. Blackbeard up on the window now means that a lot of people cannot move anymore. Zephyr is pinned inside A. Spark is pinned in this left-hand corner. Rafael, while he's going to try and rotate back through this way, he's going to be stuck very much inside this A side too. Lucky7 going to need to do something about Spark. If they can shift him out of there, they can start making a play towards the B-bomb side itself. Skyboot on the toilet windows, making holes in the wall, and there's a good kill onto Connector from him, but Rafael actually trades it back. They go one against each other. Nazen, though, on the window takes Zephyr down as he tries to peek in. Spark tries to pressure onto the bandit in the corner. Spark grabs 2 as they repel Blackbeard inside, making it a 2v2. 50 seconds to go now, but Supremacy have clawed this back from a precarious-looking position. Ericor coming in through the top of the yellow stairs, knows there's one in the toilet and is trying to pre-fire his way in, but Aprox is repelled up onto the B windows where Blackbeard was, so Sparks will be his focus. They are now fighting 2 separate 1v1s here, and Ericor needs to kill Sangreal alone to get in and help Aprox deal with Spark, and they've got to do this all in 30 seconds.
And the advantage is definitely in Supremacy's favor here. They have the 90-degree angles. They don't have to force anything.
Hibana charges go off right behind Spark, but he can hide behind the wall and not care about that. Takes out Aprox as he repels on in, and now it's a 2v1. Ericor has to deal with it. Sangreal's in the middle, Destiny gets a good flick. Spark comes around the corner. Minimal health left, but he does get the final kill. 4 for him that round to give the opening overtime round to Supremacy.
Great 4K by Spark, in the perfect position to trade out all those players who were aggressing onto his B. He just sat in his corner and he out-aimed all of them, and there's nothing more to it really. That 90-degree angle in the window gave him the advantage for 2 of those players.
It's not exactly often you see a Blackbeard repelling on those B windows and then coming inside through it. Like,
typically,
give up
no,
a strong position by doing that.
It's much better to leave the Blackbeard on the window and have another player repel in, and just have the Blackbeard either bait that player and trade him back.
Or just stay there and plant in front of him.
Exactly, yeah. But now 5-4 favor Supremacy. And we're going to see if Supremacy are going to attack admin again, or if, like Lucky7, they're going to try and mix it up.
Yeah, they
Which,
are.
you know, it almost worked for Lucky7. It was a good mix-up. They had the advantage.
There, but then when it came to, okay, how do we get Spark out of this room, which is a very common spot, they seemed to forget how it had been done all these times. They just, I don't know, it must have been a long time since they last tried to take that room, or if they didn't feel like they had the time, but they had a good minute with a lot of people left alive, and a Blackbeard still in those windows to make it count.
Just forced it a little bit too much. 1 by 1 came on in, did not move in as a team, and I think that's really what ended up costing them.
So Ericor is now here on the yellow stair window looking out towards the gas station spawn. This is a common theme now for these 2 squads. Someone is looking at each one, trying to find an opening, find an early kill.
And they're cautious of it too.
Yeah, they're cautious of it, but Supremacy aren't even spawning up that end right now. So Ericor picked the wrong side of the map to peek. They are going to go for that admin take once again. So Zephyr's drones are coming through. The Pulse is heading his way that way. Ericor is slowly making his way through the map and checking what's going on outside these direct doorways. But again, there's nothing around.
So yeah,
gets towards Visa.
Like you said, Supremacy going with the tried and true, going with what they know, trying to hit that Visa or that admin, which looks, based on these cams, looks like the right decision.
Good outside cameras from the Valkyrie, giving them knowledge of where and what to expect. It's all currently very empty, so Zephyr up on this window will start to spray in towards the holes that were made by Castle, and picks a little bit of Castle up in the process. Does take Skyboo down a notch. He steps a little bit too far around that connector hole. Shots come rattling over now from Amaze's Bandit here too, who, as we mentioned, has been holding this very same location every round, but picks a great time to fall back and then come back in to help affect the defense, help stop the plant going down just to the right point.
And that Pulse is going to get someone when he comes into it.
There it is.
There it is.
Gets Bibu taken out straight away. Rafael will immediately trade back one though. Ericor peeks on out once more.
Skyboo gave Bibu a boo-boo.
As Zephyr, Rafael come in through admin now. Spark is downstairs in Visa, does jump on inside there. The Pulse, however, seems to have moved a moment. So they haven't quite fought each other yet. Ericor is still close by to that Visa office. Admin though under control. There's Ericor picking up Spark, uses the C4 to get it done, giving the advantage back over to defense with 1:10 on the clock. 3 attackers now in through admin and are starting to push through this middle side of the site.
And that just goes to show that you really can't take admin without keeping control of Visa. That Pulse is just going to hurt you too much.
Yeah, the Prox cautious of that yellow staircase. Ericor is still down below Visa stairs and he's giving the information over to Amaze, so he knows when to expect someone pushing up towards him. And it is Rafael is starting to come through that small side office and push in this direction. Tangle droning from within the little kitchen area. Zephyr over by Copier. They are coming towards A now. Sangor peeks down the stairs, takes Ericor from behind, but then lose to Amaze. He peeks in the bomb site. Rafael drop shots his way around the corner, picks up the diffuser and survives, but Zephyr will take out a prox elsewhere, leaving us in a 2v2. Not a lot of health on this Capital though, and Ezen is holding firm. With 25 seconds to go, they've got to push into him or into Amaze, and Amaze has got a very strong position on this doorway, and he already knows the Capital's low, so that gives him the kill there. Ezen picks it up. Rafael has the diffuser now in 15 seconds. Amaze is free to rotate around. They've got a great crossfire on the top of this door. Now around the corner comes Rafael. Does pick off one. Looks towards Amaze, but Amaze is on point again. His aim is great today.
That is the third defense round upstairs from both teams. Now, it's funny because you want to say there's the third from this particular team, but no, it was both of the teams have had 2v4s now at the same exact bomb site, and for the same exact reason, almost from the same exact positions. And it's just, you gotta, and when you're attacking like that in that situation, first of all, don't let the timer get down that far. Second of all, move in as a team. Just go, go, go. You know, trade your teammates back. The Thermite, after Thatcher had died, Thermite challenged, but he didn't force the issue. And there just wasn't enough time to go back and play the round out slow. He needed to force that trade.
Attackers need to locate and
Alright, all comes down to this. Consulate will be decided on this round. Supremacy are on defense. They're down in the basement. That's where they're looking to try and hold. Once again, Bibu begins his journey straight up to the other side of the map, up to the top end of the map, and looks to pick a spawn. Zephyr and Rafael having great games here. 11 kills apiece. Shows how these teams are set up. Their attacks are based on these guys going in first. These guys picking up these frags once the information has been gathered through drones or through other players. But it's not quite enough in a row to pull out a consistent win. Zephyr now picked a spawn as well, looking out towards one main. There we go, Bibu's up onto the railing. Falls off again just before the round will begin. So if he had made it, there'd have been multiple people here watching the same gas station spawn anyway. Zephyr tries to keep himself hidden inside, but once more, no one from Lucky7 even spawned.
It's almost eerie how both of these teams are peeking out spawns, but almost never are there people spawning where they're peeking at the particular moment that they're peeking it.
Bibu gets droned in by Ericor, will take the drone out and then begins to move to another portion of the map. Lucky7 are sending players in onto the top floor and are now already inside the admin office, but they've got drones to confirm they're safe, and they're right. Bibu has already fallen right the way back down and into the basement, so with only 30 seconds gone, they have actually cleared him out of the top floor. They don't, however, know they have cleared him completely off the floor.
Yeah, so Lucky7 trying to be as thorough as possible, taking from top to all the way down to bottom, not wasting any, well, not being way too cautious, if you ask me, honestly, wasting a little bit of time. Probably don't need to clear out the top floor of roamers, especially not on a basement take.
I want to make sure they get this right. There's a lot on the line with this map.
5-5, you know, like you said, a lot on the line. I feel they can get a little bit too cautious in that situation.
Still 2 to go if they need it. Picking up this first one gives you a massive advantage going into our second map, which will be border. So, diffuser in the Prox's hands as he is checking now through tellers over towards Visa. More drones coming around to help him out, but they are now getting more and more information and more confident that the majority of this map is safe. Pulse downstairs, tracking Amaze through Piano, looking for an opportunity to perhaps use that C4 from below, but Amaze will not stand still long enough, and in fact jumps back outside the map. So, dances into toilet, into the B bomb site and checking around, keeping an eye on what's going on. Thermite now up against the garage wall, is going to blow both sides this time over. Survives it, will back away. Now it's time for Spark to see if his aim is still there as he holds firm to a very tight angle to the white van and outside the garage. Sangol's over by pipes with his smoke grenades. Floor is being opened up here by Lucky7, multiple different spots. Zephyr and Bibu holding back in servers. Will be there to backstab any attackers coming down from the east side. But right now everyone's on the yellow stairs, everyone's above the trapdoor.
Lucky7 have full control here.
There's our first kill of the round. Skybook gets Bibu as Bibu tried to fold into sight a bit too fast. Skybook gets a second one over towards pipes, but Zephyr will then peek around from red corridor and trade Skybook out. But it's a good 2-for-1 trade in favor of the attacking team that they're going to be very happy with. 30 seconds on the clock though, and if they don't start getting towards the site soon, they're going to fall into the same issue they had on the upstairs A bomb site. All coming in too late and too fast, and one of them still got a plant. Rafael behind white van, Spike tucked in on the one side. Zephyr gets the other flanker, Ericor coming around from the back. Now it's 3v3. The last three are all coming through the front door. One goes down to Spark, but Ezen will trade him straight back. Valkyrie from the kitchen takes out one more. Now Prox is alone and has the diffuser. He cannot do it, and Rafael will give Supremacy map map number 1.
Lucky7 wasting a little bit too much time on that attack and forcing themselves to rush in at the last second just through Garage. Now, every time we've seen so far today, every time we've seen any team force their way in through Garage, just bodies to the wall, and they've always failed. It's never been successful so far, and it really shows why. There's no thought process behind it. It's just, let's go in.
Yeah, they did great work getting that garage door open, great work clearing out the rest of the map and droning it and washing every floor. And it's all right, we've done all that, and now we're at the bomb site. And what do we do now?
The thing that bugs me the most is that they didn't just take control of Piano that time. They also opened up holes above White, and they were pressuring, and they had the drop open. They just ended up not using it in the end. Too many people dedicated to an outside push.
Yeah, but they did a couple of moments. They had some great points. They had some great moments on some other points in that map, but then falling down in that last moment, that 5-5, and it decides it all.
Yeah.
Now, as we mentioned, we're going into the border map. It's our second map in the series. It's a very similar kind of play to the way we saw Consulate play there. We weren't looking at a lot of verticality. They weren't using it at an up and down lot. They tried to open some holes there in that last round, but they weren't done particularly well. They weren't done particularly effectively.
Yeah.
And the players that were making them weren't protected.
I think on a map like Consulate, you typically see a little bit more of the vertical game actually utilized. We didn't see it properly, like very much utilized in this matchup, but going into border, I don't expect to see it at all. I mean, there are a lot of awesome vertical alleys that you can open up, like especially on B, and you can pretty much deny all the plants on B, even on A, but I don't expect to see it at all on border.
So a couple of highlight moments from that last map, some good flicks around from Rafael. This is why he was top of the scoreboard for his team too. Kills like that towards the end of each round, kills like that. Slap bang in the middle of some of the rounds too, to be fair. Helped pull them out towards the end. Skyboot with that late flank around, that great play. It's like, all right, we've got control of this end, we've got control of admin, we use everyone to get in inside. Now while we slowly edge forward, you go work around from the other angle, and yeah, once they picked off everyone on the way, he was just there to surprise Sangle as he came up from behind. And yeah, again, this is like the Shutex problem, I would say. Roamers that are left alone downstairs and are free like to run around and are free, and then you have
a little bit too
one
much shift
lurking attacker that they sprint into.
Yeah.
And yeah, they will be their own downfall.
A lot of the time what we've seen attacking teams have success in the general sense, is when they set themselves up to take out the defenders who are being too noisy, too aggressive, too random. Because when you're dealing with teams that are like that, all you really have to do is just wait for them to come to you.
This is a beautiful moment. Aizen comes in, stops the planter, and everyone drops dead.
If it weren't for time, all BB would have had to do was look at that door from Connector and wait for him to come in and challenge, and he could have possibly won it. Here was a great clutch by Spark, though. A 2 versus 4, I think.
Yeah. He got 4 total kills in that round.
Right.
And a lot of them were people rappelling in and just walking themselves into his gun sight. And again, Rafael with a great kill there. He does fall down to a maze at the end, but in those quick 2v1 situations, his aim is very true.
Right.
And there, final kill then to lock it out. Rafael from Kitchen, straight back on out in towards that site. Prox, again, Ash holding the diffuser is weird. Yes, everyone else had died around him at that point, but he also had it for the entire round. He had it through clearing the map. He had it while they were droning around. It was never really in a spot that they were ready to plant. And then as they come down to the last 30 seconds, well, I've got it, and we don't really have time to swap around. It's just go and see what happens. And that's not going to work when you're charging through a small doorway like there is the garage there.
There are some teams who would intentionally put their diffuser onto Ash, but it's not a very common occurrence. She does have the smoke, so she can smoke for her own plant, but it's just, yeah, like you said, it is a little odd. Typically, you'd see someone like a Thermite or one of the utilitarians actually carrying it around.
Yeah, so looking forward towards border then. Let's run the map flat and look at what it's like to remind ourselves what the bomb sites are. We saw some interesting new stuff from the Brazilians.
We saw tellers.
Yeah, we saw tellers.
And it worked.
Which, to be fair, on console, we've seen from time and time again.
Right.
Tellers is there. But we've never seen it played like we did earlier on. That was a new way.
Yeah, it was dexterity, and they played it fabulously. They baited ESG into exactly what they knew they were going to do, and it worked out, like you said, fabulously. But I don't think we're going to be seeing tellers too much. It's entirely possible we will, but even if we do, I seriously doubt they're going to play it like Dexterity did. That was genuinely unique.
Yeah, so Lucky7 kicking us off on defense of the Armory and the Lockers Archive. So upstairs we go, no surprises on that start point then for them. As for their operators, exactly what we saw before. Castle, I'm intrigued to see where they do that. We're going to look it to hold off the office, that's what we saw earlier on. Lock it out, make it its own defensible location, helps hold that B site. Or is it going to be placed somewhere else, maybe downstairs, gives Pulse some room to go underneath, uses C4 from below with the safety of the castle barricades to protect him.
I think odds are they're going to probably put it in, like you said, either to help them with hold offices, or they're going to put it to help them roam in TV. But I'm really not sure. They do, yeah, it's going to be TV. There it is. So they do, yeah, they have a rotation hole into the hallway, and they're going to put their castle barricades onto the, well, the window, maybe the doors? Oh, no, both. All the things.
Yeah, okay.
Interesting. Well, we'll see where those remaining castle barricades go later on, but it is going to be a attempted hold on TV, which makes sense, or rather monitors, which makes sense in a sense, or in a way, but I feel it's like a little bit overextension, because when you're holding monitors, you're basically forcing out the entire floor. So if a team gets wise to the fact that you have 2 players in monitors, or even 1, they can just pressure from somewhere else, like for example offices, or they can even go in straight into the site. Like right now, it looks like they could come in on B pretty easily. There's only 1 player that's holding that.
Yeah, see if they can figure this out though. Drone underneath the locker's location, checks around the floor and checks what's up waiting for him before he moves on forward. Last minute reinforcements on the office door from Skyboo, just a normal one there, so he makes some holes in it to give him a sight line, give him some sound lines of people that may be rushing through that main corridor before Eric gets droned out here inside CCTV. Push coming from Supremacy is coming from Valley and is going to start heading its way up towards that door. Eric caught that sledge in his sight line momentarily as he vaulted onto the desk, but neither of them ready to actually do anything else about it. Aprox has joined him here in CCTV and he's checking the drones and checking the cameras, but also has holes in the floor very close by to try and deal with anyone coming underneath. Zephyr takes some pot shots either way, takes some in return from Smoke, but the first kill will go over to our attacking team as Jaeger gets taken out. Ericor quickly answers by taking Zephyr out there, who's still rappelling outside on that south balcony, but he's paid the price as Ericor from inside CCTV gets a good shot off. Aprox there to cover the backside, does exactly what he's meant to do. Bibu gets taken out as he tries to push in. Skyboo takes Sangwell down now too, and the defense from Lucky7 is taking firm form as they have now taken out all but 1 attacking player. Spark, the last man, then propels onto the south balcony, pushes towards the CCTV door. Skyboo ran out of that east stairwell door earlier on to pick up 1 kill. He's also got a couple of teammates still in here and barbed wire in the doorway. He's coming back up to that same location. The call's going to come out. He's on the balcony. Skyboo's going to peek out directly from behind Spark in just a second. Spark was ready for it though. He's
being a little bit more passive.
They are playing passive. They're not throwing this away. Eric now pushes up towards the door and will seal round number 1 for Lucky7.
It was very conservative by Lucky7. They could have just all run out there and secured the round, but they played it smart. They didn't want to risk anything.
Yeah, you say there was a worry that maybe they were overextending a bit holding CCTV like that, but
it worked out
Supremacy
because
was coming from that way anyway.
Yeah.
They didn't try and go anywhere else. They didn't try and go near B, and bar the first few exchanges with Capital while it was repelling, almost every time someone from Lucky7 pulled the trigger there, somebody died.
Yeah, but it was just, yeah, like you said, it was just a case of Supremacy not bothering to address the situation in any different way after having droned out the defending operators. They just tried to force out TV, and it didn't work out. If they had simply tried to turn around and go somewhere else, could have gone differently.
So the selection for first defense, Supremacy are going into Bathroom Cellars. So,
but will they defend it quite like Dexterity, or are they going to have their own unique method to defend this particular site?
well, they haven't brought a rook to the table, which Dexterity did. Not the biggest difference, still get impact nades elsewhere and can still play someone else in a similar fashion, but they are looking right now in a far more old school setup. We're getting holes made in the floor here by Sangwell, someone to sit above and stop the plant jumping inside through B. We're going to have players reinforcing and playing within the office and holding that. Normally, yes, we saw Dexterity start like this, it was to bait them forward and then to make them drop, but it feels like it's more of a we will hold this upper floor and this will be our bomb site hold than it is the bait that Dexterity did.
Right.
So
I'm really curious, honestly, just to see how Lucky7 handles this. Are they going to try and open up the wall and just go for a straight plant? Are they going to try and take offices, much like ESG?
Time will tell. The Maze is pushing forward from the west spawn, up towards the balcony and up towards CCTV. He's going to go. Skyboo's been around here in his journey inside already for him. Prox is also up here. They're starting to scout inside. Tangrel's kneecap is right on the other side of Skyboo's rounds, but there is enough of a cabinet blocking him to keep him safe for now. Has taken a tag or two through some of it as he peeks around to confirm where Skyboo's shooting from. But he's alive and safe for a little while, so we'll go back onto his cameras and start feeding more info to the rest of his team upstairs. Meanwhile, Zephyr pushing inside the password office, ready to drop out and surprise anyone that may be coming down the east stairs.
That's a smart play. Typically, attackers don't even utilize that password office front door, so his being there is going to enable him to come from where the attackers aren't going to expect if they try to pressure lobby.
Directly above his head, Sledge has opened up the wall. It did force Smoke to move a little way in deeper towards Tethers. Tangrel there has Rafael just up and above and using this trapdoor to help him out. But a Prox is pushing in through lockers now. They picked up the first kill onto Bibu. Spark was there too, but he has fallen down. Now Rafael's coming up to try and help save the day, and a Prox will pick him off as well. Rafael falls down, and Capitao was used to finish off Spark's downed corpse to leave it in a 2v5 in favor of Lucky7. You asked how they were going to take this, how they were going to push in towards the side above, and they have done it very well through lockers to begin with. And Skyboo peeks out just as Sangro takes his eyes off the trapdoor to throw a smoke grenade and pick himself up another free kill. Zephyr now, you said it was smart to hide impossible because everyone ignores it, but when the rest of his team is dead, he's now stuck and stranded miles away.
Yep.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Definitely not going to be getting this 1v5, but who knows? Maybe they'll line up for him.
Firebolts go off on the window. Ericor, however, is already inside. He can't plant because he needs to lean out from there to plant, but it doesn't matter because the Prox will flank around behind and give Lucky7 round number 2.
Lucky7 seeming pretty dominant on border so far. Is this going to be what we saw last time where they were up 2 rounds, but then Supremacy in the 3rd round started the comeback and ended up winning the match? Or is Lucky7 going to be keeping the momentum on this map, which they're more comfortable playing?
These rounds have been very one-sided towards Lucky7.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
On border, so if that's the case, we've got to see a very different play from Supremacy to follow it up.
Yeah, I like the idea of trying to mix it up and do the teller's defense, but it didn't work out. They didn't get any trade backs, and even despite that, when Dexterity was down, they weren't getting their trades. The players who were playing outside of the site managed to secure the kills in the end anyway. So it didn't end up mattering that the people who were playing above died without trading back.
Now we do have a fuse being brought out here by Zephyr. And by Supremacy, they now are attacking in towards the ventilation room and
Fuse is a smart pick.
Workshop. And yeah, now Lucky7 are preparing to hold the floor above. They're bringing Castle up here again. They're reinforcing in towards office. They are going to be ready for an assault onto this upper floor. But if they lose it, the bomb sites are going to be decimated by those fuse charges. And with these castle barricades where they are and on these windows, it actually allows the possibility for fuse to be used on those and help take control of these floors above.
5 seconds remaining.
Right, it looks like they're going to be investing a lot of utility into holding above. So it's going to be sort of like, I suppose, the opposite of the master chalet hold, where you hold it from a below to upwards. It's going to be holding upwards to below. And all that utility invested upstairs for the castle barricades, the barbed wire, and the reinforcements. But Castle is, in fact, going to be set. It looks like he's going to be heading downstairs, moving his way into the hallway.
Yeah.
There it is.
Darts around, picks off a couple of drones on his way, and then heads back towards the site with his team. He's still got 1 castle barricade. If he chooses to use it down here somewhere, we'll wait and see. Upstairs, he's left a Prox and a Maze, darting between office and lockers and holding firm. And you do also have a rotating towards the toilets downstairs, so they have a very open bomb site towards A to try and hold up. As is upstairs as well, and holding Lucky7's firm position inside that bomb site, should it be an upstairs hold. And it's time now for Supremacy to try and find and figure out a plan of attack onto these 3. Their drones are in there and they do have information on who's waiting. All 3 have been spotted now with their rough positions called out. And Maze does take out that drone before it sees him, but now behind him, Fuse is in that area. Trying to Fuse charge in. It does come on through, but it doesn't go anywhere near Maze himself. But the door has been shot open now instead. Spark covering the rotate now from outstairs on top of this toll booth roof. It's keeping the bandit locked inside the lockers half of the map. Downstairs, Rafael has taken Skyboo out, and now is the peek around. Sangrel takes a Prox down, Bibu takes down a Maze, and the Lucky7 defenders that were upstairs are starting to fall. There's one more locked inside offices though. They didn't see Azan, and he will rear his head, take down Sangrel. C4 goes over the top. Spark is on 1 HP after that explosion. So very close, but it's slowed down the onslaught that is Supremacy coming this way. Azan now looks for one more. Bibu dances across the gap. He can't land the headshot on that. Steps on up and he'll get it the second time around. Thermite charge on the castle barricade opens it behind him. Spark's low already. Does get the down onto him. Switches to the Desert Eagle to try and secure it. Misses it. Will switch to Rafael. Can't get that. Rafael does down him and singles him out. Now it's Echo in a 1v2. One of them is already down. 57 seconds on the clock, and Ericor is trying to go aggressively for this. Up towards the wall. There's a hole in it, but he doesn't stop to even try an ADS. It's a little bit too much sprinting, and Rafael claws it back for Supremacy. Started off so well, giving them in a 5v2, nearly fell apart, but right at the end there, Rafael coming through, tried and tested, true and faithful, holds it around and gives Supremacy the first on the board.
Yeah, and will this be the beginning of the comeback for Supremacy? Is this reminiscent of the last map, where they started down 2 and got up 3-2? Now they're going to be defending armory lockers instead of tellers. Not going to try that again. Makes a lot of sense. It is the most commonly defended site on this particular map. Nothing special coming out from their loadout. Pretty much the same. No no rook again. Both of these teams tending not to pick up the rook, going for instead the more mobile loadouts.
So,
Attackers need to locate
you mentioned it. Is this the time? Is this Supremacy's roll underway? Is the momentum back in their favor now? Are they going to start to take control of this map? We've seen it in the past. Maybe.
The beginning of that last attack round, it looked like they had it in the bag. It was a 5v2, I think, and we thought it was looking like they were going to just have an ace to get it over with, be done. But 2 players managed to put them in a 2v2 situation, and ultimately, that's a little shaky. I mean, yes, they won that round, but it should have been much more concise than that.
Yeah. So,
ooh,
setup starts to take shape. Spark loses half his health to Castle's impact nade.
The health is a problem, but moreover, the argument behind it. Sometimes players can get extremely angry at each other when something like that happens.
I'd like to think these guys are more professional than that.
I would too.
Where that impact nade was meant to go, there's now no longer a hole.
Yes.
So
actually, well, I think he used his second one there, but that means that he didn't get to use it somewhere else.
Yes, there's one that can't be used elsewhere now. So they just like, all right, well, they lose out on some of their mobility, lose out on some of the rotation they were looking to have.
Yeah, the issues are plenty with something like that.
For a small thing.
And looks like we're going to be seeing Lucky7. They're going to be trying for an offices take, which is good to see. Last time on the armory defense, I think we saw an attempt at monitors that didn't work out from Supremacy.
So upstairs, Azan comes in from this east balcony and starts to pressure on towards B.
Bibu's going to be trying to stop Asian on the window here. He does have that shotgun, so that is going to be effective at countering Blackbeard if he decides to come in.
He's holding that shotgun inside. It's been a while since we've seen a Valk shotgun there. Zephyr steps up that back staircase, sidesteps the Claymore, and will take down the Thermite before his teammate Sangrel will trade out Skyboot, giving the defense a strong hold. Zephyr is low from that exchange, but gets away without the trade, and this Alokka's hold is looking good for Supremacy now. Shots rattling in from outside as Sangrel starts to fall back a little way. Amaze is over by CCTV. He's got the Hibana there to support him, but now Azan is cautious of Zephyr stepping up the back here. He knows he's in the staircase. He's already lost his Thermite to here. The Claymore is gone. He wants to pressure inside office. He wants to push inside B. But now he has no one to watch his flank. Now he's exposed, and yeah, okay, Blackbeard shield is strong, but not when you're being shot in the back.
Only 1 minute left here for the 3 attackers from Lucky7. The round is looking good for Supremacy, but there are 2 players who are lit. It's entirely but then the C4 onto Asian. That's gonna. I don't think he knows he downed him. He doesn't. He has no idea.
Yep, they can't be 100%.
But he's alone as his teammate is on the other end of the bomb site. And I think this is testament to the reason they lost this round is a little bit too spread out. Unsure what they're doing exactly. I understand playing Blackbeard. Like, for example, we saw earlier today, we saw Blackbeard on the B window try to cut off that.
Oh, nice flick from a proc. Takes Zephyr down. Admittedly, he was low, but it was a brilliant shot nonetheless. Now he's starting to push his way over here. Remember, Blackbeard being down can be revived. Another great one onto Bibu. He's only got 25 seconds. Can he get this Blackbeard up? He does go for it. Goes on outside and will pick up the revive. 18 seconds to go. Going to be about 15 by the time it's done. Everyone is low health left now on the defending team. Blackbeard jumps inside office. One was over by East Staircase. He is going to be spotted at Spark. He gets downed by the Blackbeard. We may have ridden him off too soon. Rafael has finished off a prox. And he's inside now. Double the shots coming his way. Lucky7 momentarily looked like they might have a dream still alive. But Rafael shots that right out.
Those shots from a prox. That was insane coming out from Supremacy. And an excellent try. But again, ultimately, they got picked off because they were a little bit too spread out. That Blackbeard wasn't really doing anything on that office's window. Again, we saw earlier today, Blackbeard on the B window cutting off that rotation through the B site. But what is Blackbeard doing on that particular window? Absolutely nothing. And I'm guessing what the thought process might have been was for Habana to come to that window and help him by opening up the B wall just one time so he can then have line of sight all the way into the side, and then they could push in through the A wall. But that didn't happen, and Habana was one of 2 people left alive, including Blackbeard at the end, so it really didn't matter.
Now, Lucky7, they're back on the defense of that very same spot themselves now. We've seen some changes, we've seen some adapting from either squad and trying to bring out some new stuff, which is, as you say, just slightly overextending, just slightly spreading themselves too thin. They're looking now, and I was hoping to see it, back to the basics, back to what we saw in the earlier rounds, back to the original defenses, which gave Lucky7 that 2-0 lead originally. And that's how things are taking shape right here. So, rotate holes into CCTV, reinforcements.
So they're going to be doing
exactly castle barricades going to seal off some sides of the map. And yeah, the first round they did this, they won the first round with 3.
It was because Supremacy forced their way close to CCTV and they just got peeked out on.
But now, Supremacy are switching things up and bringing themselves Montaigne.
Yeah.
Now, this would normally suggest we're going to push towards B, we're going to try and plant from the balcony, and we're going to hold it from a distance. That defense setup here from
That's a camera, dude.
7.
That's a camera. No.
Yeah, he still wants to kill it.
No, the other one. The one he just... the one on the wall right behind him.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. The defense setup here from Lucky7 is heavily over towards the west side. It's towards the A site. It's towards CCTV.
Right.
And as you talked about, as soon as you know that there's 1 or 2 players committed to CCTV, a B push is a great rotate. Supremacy took that entire gamble by bringing the Montaigne before they'd even seen where the roamers were going to be. And it looks like
Good
it's
prediction.
pay off for them.
Yeah. I wonder if they're just going to try and work their way straight in through the B door and just, they're doing exactly that.
It's already down. The bomb is already down inside B because they knew there was no one close by. They got themselves quickly inside. Now, Azen inside does get 1 kill, gets a 2nd kill onto Rafael, so Bibu is now gone. Sango, though, is just trying to stand on top of the diffuser. Out on the balcony is Zephyr. The grenade will bounce off Valkyrie's face. He tries to vault over the edge, but he can't, so he just stands on top of the grenade. The Maze gets around behind the Blackbeard. Behind the Montaigne, sorry, as Spark picks up 2 on the balcony. A 3rd onto Azen. It's now 1v1 with the Prox, who is inside the site. He's got to get this 7-second diffuse on. Spark is just hanging off the edge and knows he can throw the drone open over the top. The Prox pushes forward, but he was far enough down, he couldn't get the angle. The smoke grenades come out. They are going to hold Spark away. He doesn't have enough time to hold this now, though, anyway. And it's a 4th free kill for Spark to get Supremacy in the lead. Beautiful attack from Supremacy.
They completely read, as you were talking about at the beginning of the round, they completely read that defense from Lucky7. Lucky7 doing the same exact thing twice in a row, and they didn't even know that they were planning in B. They had no clue. There was no one there for the sound cue.
There was nothing to stop it. No one could hear it. They just opened the door, walked in, planted straight away.
Lucky7 a little bit too used to an A attack, not ready for that B attack. And now it's 3-2, as you said, Supremacy in the lead. This is 3 rounds in a row now for Supremacy, and they're going to be defending Ventilation Room Workshop. And the way that I think they held this last time, looks like we have a disconnect, so we will be doing a rehost. But I think the way they held, they held that last time was they actually had people mostly holding upstairs in offices.
Yeah, so they did spread it out. They had people holding upstairs in offices. It's Supremacy now that are clearly learning from what Lucky7 are doing. Their first couple of rounds surprised them. The first couple of rounds caught them by surprise, and they weren't ready for it, and they lost it since. They lost those 2. But everything since that point has been completely flipped on its head. We've seen some great rounds coming out of Supremacy. A couple of moments of hiccups where some, like a Prox had some great rounds and picked up a
that was a Prox being a Prox.
Yeah, just great individual skill, but when you're up against a coordinated team of 5, it's not going to take you a full round. So Supremacy have clawed it back, and then there at the end, it's like, all right, we've got Lucky7's number. We know what round it is. We know they're going to be back in this bomb site. We know they're going to hold it exactly like this, so we're going to play into B. We're going to bring ourselves up at Montaigne, and we got a free round there. Now, if they're looking at this, all right, well, by that tracking, you're going to do this on your next attack round, so we can set up like this, and it should be another free round from put them on match point. We'll see whether they have as good of a read on the attack round Lucky7 are about to throw their way as they did on the defense round previously.
I'm mostly just curious to see if Lucky7 are going to be adjusting their defense on Armory, because it's not just about the fact that, yes, okay, most people will be attacking A every time on Armory. That's the majority of teams. But it's moreover, Armory is the site that you are supposed to win on defense. It is the typically considered the most easily defended site. So if you don't have another plan other than force out TV, then yeah, your B is going to be exposed for a long time. And it's not as simple as just let's stack B. It can't come down to that. They need to have something up their sleeve that will really genuinely allow them to hold that site, especially against the Montaigne. And it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be a bit of rock, paper, scissors. Like, are we going to be taking A? Are we going to be taking B with our Montaigne? Because Supremacy seem competent enough to make that decision-making on the fly.
Yeah, from round to round, and sometimes even within rounds, they've been making that decision as and when needed. And well, they do have room to look at it. We are looking at slightly different things again. All bomb sites seem to have been used and played here, bar the customs inspection one. We have 3 that have been built out by the different squads to varying levels of success. While we saw that Teller's location get picked, again, play completely differently to what we saw Dexterity do it earlier on.
Didn't work.
Didn't work. Maybe we could take some cues from what Dexterity did. Maybe they can start bringing that in, because that was, again, really, really nice to see.
Good defense. I mean, it was well thought out.
And to be fair, not particularly complicated in the way it was
really
actually
simple.
executed.
They used the site as a bloodbath, and they just threw their C4 in there. They denied them as the plant.
Use the site's weakness as its strength, right?
Exactly.
It's very hard to defend that site because the attackers can just
they can just walk in, open up the wall.
Yeah. So, all right, well, we'll bait you up top by having strong roamers, which Supremacy have strong roamers. They can stick some strong guys upstairs that force Lucky7's attention.
Yeah.
Come and get us. If you don't, we will kill you later on. So you have to come and get them, and then you've got no time to go anywhere else. You have to drop down through the site, and now you're inside that meat grinder.
Right.
And we've seen people like Raphael excel in such situations. You put 3 or 4 people around him, and he will sit there and spin in circles and pick off headshots.
Right.
So it does feel like a style which, okay, if you've never practiced it, it's a risk, but it does look like it's something right up Supremacy Street from what we've seen so far today. So, all 10 players back in the lobby. We will get this game underway again in just a second. Currently 3 rounds to 2 for the first time here on Border. Supremacy are in the lead, and of course they are 1 map up after having won Consulate. So, with this lead in their hands, with the 3 rounds run on a trot, the confidence and the morale has got to be running high. So they are looking to shut this out very, very quickly, and let's just hope that that doesn't fill them with a little bit overconfidence. Let's hope that they realize that they can still lose this if they don't take it so seriously and they slow down a bit.
Yeah, and again, we are going to be seeing ventilation, just as we saw before the disconnection. They are going to probably be holding it again from above, almost as if they're holding Armory with a little bit of a vertical effect to it. And again, no Rook, and we haven't been seeing any of the 1 armors, or sorry, the 1 speeds on either of these teams so far. Seemingly, both of these teams like the ability to move around quite quickly.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
So, ventilation workshop again. Spark once more bringing the shotgun on the Valkyrie into the mix. He's been doing great work on Bandit with the MP7 and the Hollow Sight for a couple of rounds. In Consulate, he picked up 4 or 5 kills in some rounds on it. It was very, very effective. Not sure why we're seeing him switching to the shotgun right here. Look at where he's going to play. Is he going to be upstairs inside office again? Because yes, he used it there before. But again, he got his 1 down on the Blackbeard with his C4, and the shotgun never really came into play.
I think the reason a lot of people don't like the Valkyrie SMG is specifically because it just doesn't do enough damage, or DPS in general. It's great if you can land those headshots, but then even that's a little bit more complicated than some people like, because he doesn't have access to that ACOG. Now, I don't think that that's really making much of a difference in their decision making on Xbox, but I know a lot of players who don't use it specifically because of that on PC.
So, pushing forward now, Lucky7 attacking largely from the east side of the map.
They are going to be a B take.
Yeah.
Or
at the very
it's
least,
very confusing because it's not actually a B take. They're defending Armory, but they're not actually defending Armory.
yeah. So it's an Armory B-side take. It can still be a B-side take once they do clear Army, once they've cleared the direct floor above it.
Technically, yeah.
Then, all right, we'll switch down and start going in through toilets and just plant across that toilet doorway sort of thing, you know? Like, we'll hold in tellers and bathroom, and we will plant right on the edge, and we'll cover it from that way. But they have split it up a bit more now. They actually bring the diffuser around the top side. They're going to come right into Spark's position. He is on the other side of this door frame. He has a shotgun in hand, but the wall is about to be blown out right next to him, so he's going to be forced to move. Lucky7 is playing this smart, as you say. They're holding Armory and lockers as if it's the bomb site. So how did Lucky7 take it? Well, they take it like it's the bomb site. You thermite the wall open, you push on in, you drone on first, and make sure you clean it out.
Not only does it waste a lot of time, though, it does also waste a lot of resources.
Yeah. One of two very, very vital thermite charges to get that wall open.
Right.
They haven't had a kill for it yet. In fact, they have all rotated away from that top floor now. Spark successfully getting downstairs, Zephyr as well, down and in towards customs inspection. So now once the push starts to come in, they're going to collapse in from the other side of the map and get around behind the attacking team. So Pulse underneath. Zephyr is taking out one of the first defenders to be locked over. He is down but not out, but there's no one close that could safely revive him either. So he might stay down for a little while. Ericor, the man to do the damage, but is low himself because of it. So we'll see whether or not that plays out. Pulse is still underneath, tracking through the floor as well with his heartbeat sensor, looking for an opportunity to throw that C4 up. And there it is. Zephyr's back on his feet now, managed to crawl himself across to Valkyrie through Spark and get back on his feet. He can take Ericor down through the window. You downed him, but you couldn't finish him, and you pay the price for it. But from above, Amaze is there to take him straight back down himself. And Proxus grabbed one too, and Aizen takes down Sangro. Two defenders left alive, as Supremacy will finally get one back. Bibu takes down Aizen. 3v2 in favor of attack. Bibu is very, very low, but he's on the run again. He is slippery at the moment, and they cannot lock him down. The bomb sites are in the attacker control. Blue names are all over either of the sites. The plant's going to go through in just a moment. Spark is still cautious of above. There's the plant started inside B now. Supremacy have to slowly start to think about taking control of it. Do they have cameras inside it? Do they know which site it's been planted on? Up and above comes the Pulse, straight into a drone, so his position is going to be called. They know what drop he's coming through. The castle barricades are now locking Supremacy out of their own bomb sites. Spark with his Desert Eagle looking to check outside the front door. Bibu going up towards the toll booth to look outside the window, make sure there's no one there. Jumps on back in, but he's been detected now. That's going to hurt him even more. In through behind one comes the C4 breach from Spark, and then makes a massive noise, and he doesn't even turn around for it. And Prox is on the far side of the A site and didn't see him till the last second. Took a couple of shots himself, but then Bibu drops down behind him. Bibu with a great shot with no health of his own onto a Prox. Outside the window, no Capitao is gone. He's already fired the firebolt down, and Bibu walks straight into it.
Didn't see the firebolt in the rush. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. Didn't have enough time to defuse that bomb. A great round from Lucky7. Now bringing it to 3-3. Evened it out again. Now this is a little bit more pressure on Lucky7 again, because if they lose this map, it's done. It's over. They go home. And Supremacy, the team brought in to replace Dexterity, makes their way forward into the semifinals.
So the two roamers that went down there, the fall down on that round. Two roamers that dropped down late, being stuck far away from the bomb sites once all their anchors were gone. Yeah, they castled themselves out again, couldn't get back in. They didn't even know which bomb site the diffuser was on until they started to get inside of it. Not playing such a spread out game, but that's exactly what you open yourself up for.
It wasn't even. It was the spread out game that did hold them back quite a lot, especially on a bomb site like Tellers. I feel like it's just not one of those things. It's such an easy site to just anchor in and hold. Yes, they can get above you and open up above you, but neither of these teams have been doing that. So it's kind of redundant holding above, almost. And, it's just, you can't do castle and roam if you're locking out your roamers in that situation. Like, yes, it can be useful sometimes, but other times it's just going to hurt you. I honestly think those two castles, the one to the site and the one to the server room, are worse for the defenders than they are for the attackers, because it means the attackers can come straight in through the front door without any challenge from the site, and they only have to watch one instead of 3 angles.
So Last time we saw Lucky7 hold this site, remember they spread out too far and opens them up to a very quick Montaigne plant. Supremacy dropping the Montaigne, going back to something a bit more standardized now, realizing that that same lightning will not strike twice. Prox has gone downstairs and is underneath in bathroom and tellers, holding office from helping office from below. But other than that, they are looking more standard here, Lucky7. They are on the bomb sites.
Yeah,
they
not
are
holding
in the
TV
office
anymore. Which is, I think, the right decision to make. Lucky, it worked for them one time, but Supremacy is not going to fall for that again. And, you know, it's great to see both these teams evolving off of each other. They both adapt every time they lose a round.
Skyboo spotted on the drone, couldn't figure out where it was, didn't move fast enough, and it gives Spark a nice and easy wallbang to take him down. So the attack get a quick early kill in this round. A minute has gone. Taken out one of the roamers that was downstairs. Pulse is still in the same floor, but is pinned over on the far side of the bathroom right now. Supremacy's attack is focusing on A, and they have got the locker's wall open now to help with that. Zephyr, just outside it, tucked around the right-hand side, is going to have to fight with Amaze and Error Core as the pressure comes up. Rafael, they're repelling on the edge. Might just have an angle there on that Amaze peak.
Extremely aggressive peaks from Amaze. Pretty unnecessary. All you need to do is stop the plant. You don't need to force it out.
Well, when he gets shot through the floor underneath like that, he needs to do something. Bibu, great play with that Ash charge, then follows it up with some shots of his own. One more going to go into the, almost in the small office. He picks the doorway instead, and it's a great shot. It is going to find him Error Core in a moment if he is patient enough. Error Core gets fired away from the wall. The plant's going to come across as the smoke grenades come in. Rafael gets taken out by a good spray, but inside the smoke now he's actually hidden through the floor peak thanks to the smoke grenades. Asian picks up 2 here as Spark goes down as well, and the attackers are back to a 3v3 when they started out with a large advantage. Sangirl outside with that black windshield, not going to be enough, and Error Core is on fire, picking up 2. Asian takes Bibu out at the last second, and Lucky7 managed to hold on and get themselves a lead.
That was an unfortunate smoke and play by Thermite. He smoked the wall to try and run in, but he ran in too early. The smoke wasn't blocking the FOV at the line of sight at the time, so he got picked off. And then the Ash couldn't trade back onto Error Core because of the smoke, which ended up giving Error Core the ability to later on, of course, get those last 2 kills, which was fantastic gunplay by him. And now we're looking at 4-3 in favor of Lucky7.
So on to map point, and remember, map point here for Lucky7 hold themselves in this. It will take us onto our 3rd map. It will take us onto Oregon to decide this series if they can pull it off. Supremacy though, still looking with a chance. Lucky7 bringing their own Montaigne to the table now. They're going to bring that out, see if they can make it work here on this upstairs bomb site Supremacy have chosen. Supremacy don't leave their B site quite so exposed compared to the way Lucky7 were doing it in that early round when it first worked, and they also like to run their pulse downstairs and underneath, which again is a great place to sit a C4 and double kill onto that Montaigne and Planter combination. So
do you think it's going to be straight into B though? Do you think it's going to be the same thing that we saw from Supremacy?
I hope not.
You hope not?
No, because I don't think that's going to work.
I don't think it'll work either.
I think Lucky7, if that's their plan, have not been paying attention.
The way that
Supremacy's defense will not let them do that.
The specific way that Supremacy did that anyway, it could be easily stopped by a C4 from underneath. So specifically, the pulse is underneath B at the time, which is a server room, I believe, or no, I think it's called Workshop.
Yes, Workshop.
Yeah, if he's in Workshop, he's gonna get C4'd, and it looks like that's exactly what they're gonna try and do. No, wait. In fact, they might be working their way in through offices and the B wall. That'd be fantastic.
They are definitely slow about it, which is smart. They're opening the wall in towards B, and so it will give Blackbeard a peek through that angle.
And there
Montaigne is heading up towards the door.
Underneath.
Pulse is underneath, because they figured out what's going on. There's also a C4 right next to him in the form of Valkyrie. He does manage to turn and block most of that blast with his face, but inside he now peeks forward. He's actually going to get taken straight out by a team kill from behind from Error Core. Bibu will take Error Core down quickly himself to follow it up, and a Prox does trade out Rafael elsewhere. The attackers do still have 3 players left alive with a lot of health. If you total up the numbers, technically they have more health than the defense. The defense have shotguns held in. They still have a pulse underneath, admittedly now with no C4, but he's there.
He's got the pulse, he's got the gun, he can stop the plant.
So the attack has to slow down a little bit and take stock. They've still got their sightline into B. They no longer have the diffuser. unlucky there
from
to make that
Amaze
move.
though.
Amaze does get a good pick onto Zephyr, takes the Jaeger out of the picture himself now, helps even up the numbers. Bibu cautious with one man on his right, one man on his left. The diffuser's still down at the moment. He's also got support here from Sangro. Drone does confirm that he's in that corner, but Aprox is not ready to pressure onto him yet as Sangro has the crossfire. Aprox cannot jump in here without being traded straight back by one of them. Yeah, then looks over to Sangro, takes him out, gets traded by Bibu, looks in for Bibu, gets traded out by Sangro. Needs to wait for some support for his team. Capitao coming up on that balcony may just be able to fire a firebolt at the right angle to get Bibu out of that corner. One tick is all it would take to down Bibu if there are firebolts left in Capitao's arsenal. 52 seconds to go. Spark deciding now is the time to start heading back up towards the site. Make sure he's around here for when that final push does come in from Lucky7. Being underneath is not going to help much more. Aprox has gone up towards CCTV now and is taking the focus away from the B site to try and flank from a slightly different angle.
Castles.
Castles are keeping Spark out, but it might have accidentally pushed him around behind Aprox here. Aprox, the door is not open, he's going to punch it now. Spark just suddenly realized who does react faster? Aprox does. We've seen it from him all night. Hazen grabs one, now Sangro's alone. Asian's inside B. Lucky7 could be on the verge of finishing this map. And they are, as Amaze picks up the final kill to take us on to map 3 and Oregon.
A great reaction there from Aprox to lock out that round. It was 3-3, and really that first engagement is what ended up deciding the map. First engagement of that round. And now Lucky7 moving on to the third map against Supremacy. Now that was a surprising final round. I honestly expected Supremacy to be able to continue their momentum. It was. They did win 3 rounds in a row.
Yep.
But Lucky7 managed to force it out.
Yeah, it's a very topsy-turvy round. 2 rounds at the start for Lucky7, 3 rounds in a row for Supremacy. We come back, and it's 3 rounds in a row from Lucky7 to take us 5-3 and end the map. Now looking towards Oregon, after having seen Consulate play, after having seen how Border plays, Oregon plays nothing like either of them.
I wouldn't say nothing
Oregon
like either of
basement
them.
plays nothing like either of them.
Yeah.
Once you hit the master bedroom, which you start getting upstairs, then you're seeing the similarities again. Then you're seeing lots of window play, then you're seeing lots of vertical play.
Yeah. I'd say that all 3 of the maps are very dynamic. They're not super heavily strat based, and both of these teams seem to. Overall, you would use that normally to say, oh, this team's got the advantage here, but both of these teams are extremely similar in the way that they play. And honestly, it's really going to come down to who. It's going to come down to a lot of luck, and it's going to come down to a lot of singular engagements. I feel these teams are extremely similar, like I said earlier, in almost all respects. And I don't know. I'm curious to see who's going to take it.
Yeah, the way they've been playing recently, the way the holds are going through, we've seen a lot of teams now start to mix up their basement holds on Oregon. They're playing 3-4 roamers in some occasions, spreading out and defending the upper floor. Is that the way they hold the basement, bringing down the late rotates, coming down through meeting, coming down through the back tower. The way these guys have been playing, I feel like they may be inclined to do some of that. They've been playing very spread out for some of the defenses in the last couple of very spread across Consulate, very spread across Border. But I don't feel like that's going to work more than once. Because they have
both these teams
realized
make extreme adaptations based on every single round. As soon as they lose something, they realize, okay, we cannot do that anymore. And let's see, what are they doing? Okay, let's counter that. And I think that, which is why that Montaigne round at the end there, I'm amazed that Lucky7 won that. Because they shouldn't have, by all rights.
As soon as they lost their Montaigne to a team kill, and then they dropped the diffuser with the thermite guide afterwards.
For the fact that Supremacy would anticipate that and know how to react to it, and they did. It was unfortunately in the end, after the Montaigne was dealt with, they didn't secure any of the kills, and it cost them.
Yeah, they got it. They did manage to get a couple of lucky trades back after losing the Montaigne to bring it back to a 3v3, but from that point out, it just became, as we saw, like Aprox and Spark running into each other in CCTV.
That Aprox
pure
kill pretty
surprise,
much won that
and
round.
just Aprox's reactions, Aprox's speed
Right.
to get those kills, which you saw him do multiple times throughout previous rounds, was enough there to help secure that and help swing their 3v3 into a 3v1. But more,
this was a really unfortunate round for Supremacy, I have to say.
Yeah, that could have been.
Sorry, rather for Lucky7.
Yeah, I think it was good. It could have been a nice, easy double kill there. This is what I mean by Aprox. His quick flick reaction shots are incredibly accurate. And yeah, once they accidentally ran into Spark in CCTV, this is what he used. This is what he dug into.
And that's how he won that last round.
Secure that last round, yeah. So there were a couple of high moments from multiple players. This is that very explosive round where Lucky7 left this exposed, left the B side exposed, and allowed Spark to hold this whole site with this 4K from rappelling on this balcony. And yeah, Prox obviously has to just hold the diffuser on that one because he did not have the time to pull off it before Bibu accidentally runs himself into a firebolt inside that B site.
And there, again, he could not have defused the bomb at that point, so it's not that big a deal. This was some excellent gun handling from Aircore, and again, he shouldn't have been able to. He shouldn't have been alive in that situation. He should have been traded back by the Ash, but unfortunately, that smoke didn't let that happen. And there it is. The end of the map. A maze locking it out.
The final round. So as you can see there, the players are filling up the lobby to come into map number 3, coming into Oregon. So it's completely out there.
I have no prediction at all for this match. This final map, I cannot tell you. Both of these teams are played too similarly. They're both extremely skilled. They both have good strats. They both make good adaptations. I mean, what do you want me to say? You know, I can't make a prediction based off that.
Yeah, no, I got that. But I want to look at the way we've seen border played. We are seeing 3 of the 4 possible bomb sites. We have 4 possible bomb sites here again in Oregon. We have seen teams in the past bring out one of the 2 lesser played ones, the towers, bring out the dining rooms. Looking at what these guys have been doing here to try and throw each other off, I'm honestly expecting to see 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah.
We'll have a quick look at what those maps, those bomb sites look like as we get loaded on in, as Lucky7 versus Supremacy is about to take place on their 3rd and final map. Our final quarterfinal will be decided right here on Oregon, and we'll look to tomorrow and see who has to go on to face Vitality, our world champions.
And if Supremacy does manage to actually get that win in here and move into play Vitality tomorrow, that will be a rematch from the Season 3 finals.
Yeah. Supremacy Vitality was that Season 3 final point. Lucky7 have reared their heads since then. They weren't in that Season 3 finals. They weren't a force to be reckoned with there. Then they came out of the qualifiers and
relatively new team
and displayed massive skill, which is why they were here originally before Supremacy came in as our last stand-in. But Supremacy did not let that phase them. They've clearly still been training over the last few months.
Definitely deserve it.
Clearly still been playing and keeping themselves fresh. And now they come out here with a day's less rest, so to speak. Everyone else, we had them all here a day early to fight jet lag and all that. Supremacy came out, landed last night, landed late,
protect your bombs from being defused,
and they're putting on a great show.
Yep, definitely.
So, top floor bomb site there, first selection. Rafael begins the setup to this walk-in wardrobe. Defending, they are going to reinforce completely. We do see some teams leave one open and use it as a rotate, use it aggressively. Not what we're going to see here from Supremacy. Locking that up completely and holding it firm. Valkyrie cameras inside master bedroom so they can get an eye of where and when the thermite will be coming in. And they are using the castle barricade to hold it a bit firm.
Yeah, defending upstairs is become more of a typical thing from all teams. It used to be the case that every team decided to try and defend basement first, but
5 seconds remaining.
It's a lot more difficult to hold now when people have started figuring out that it's really simple to take. All you have to do is open that drop down, lay down some smokes, and plant in the corner, and there's not a whole lot that defenders can do to stop you. Whereas with the upstairs hold, you've got a lot more room to play with. It's a very dynamic hold. You can have your roamers and you can have your anchors, and they both work together in great unison. And you can even, which is what they did here in this case, you can even open Skybridge and give yourself even more freedom to move.
Now, they've opened Skybridge, but I didn't quite see there if they'd reinforced
It was
this
reinforced,
side.
yeah.
Diffuser.
Ooh, Spark.
Yeah, well, by reinforcing it, that means they need to get Thermite in here. They need to bring his attention over to open it up. Thankfully, they drone far enough down the staircase. They will find Spark waiting for them underneath. Otherwise, he could have done a serious amount of damage. But he doesn't fall back too far. So if they come hunting for him now, he's still got this very tight engagement where a shotgun will excel. They are, however, not looking to hunt for him. Aizen sending down his drone and stops it at the bottom of the staircase. Someone will have to keep an eye on that now and see if and when Spark comes up to it. But they are safe to open up the attic crawl space now.
I wonder if you'll see the laser sight projected onto the wall.
Possible. Prox coming down. The drone didn't go far enough. The laser sight is now peeking around, but Prox turns to run and goes straight back up the staircase before he has a chance to see it, and before Spark can see a Prox. So it stays down. Bibu's at the same time they're peeking into the front of the meeting hall, and the Prox starts to have to fend him off. Turns around now and is cautious once again of what might be lurking below. And Spark is still very, very close by. He's also cautious that Bibu could have gone back down that staircase there. Now they've got the attic open. he can move on from this tower location. They do not feel like they need to have him in there as they're putting a lot of pressure on the B-bomb site through the windows and starting to move Thermite actually with that diffuser over towards the A window. Grenades being thrown in through connector, through this corridor from Sledge up top. Cleaning up barbed wire, allowing a push from the front site if they can get past Bibu to be possible. Prox picks up the first kill of the round, then onto Zephyr. Takes down Jaeger as the firebolt lands right on top of Smoke's head. He's now on 1 point of health inside the kid's bedroom, holding firm. Taking those smoke charges out of the picture on this map can be incredibly strong because of how powerful they can hold windows. Ericor grabs another one for the attackers. Rafael will fall. Castle out now with still 5 attackers left, standing and healthy. Spark finally takes one down, and Maze is taken out of the picture, but as Smoke stands up, Ericor's already inside. He manages to finish off the last bit of health Sangro had. Castle barricade there has locked the corridor off, and the defenders have got one player locked outside. It's Bibu now trying to come up the back staircase. Valkyrie's down here with that Spark has come up from below, and with the C4 and a quick double from Bibu, Lucky7 are actually once again on the back foot. Spark's coming up now behind Thermite, and he's got the range on this shotgun, but he can't quite get the third shot off. Thermite now 1v2, and Bibu will come up the back staircase, seals it around, and Supremacy once again pulling out 3 or 4 clutch kills in the last few seconds. To turn around on his head.
That round was looking entirely in favor of Lucky7. They got a number of picks early on, and then once they started forcing their way in, just winning their engagements one after another, they traded out one person, but in the end it didn't matter because Frost came up from behind and pulsed with that C4, managed to put themselves in the lead and in terms of players, and yeah, it was just kind of, I felt like they got a little too bunched up, a little too focused on one particular lane. They could have maybe applied a little bit more pressure to the B window itself rather than trying to go straight up through the stairs.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
They paid the price for it as is, and Supremacy get themselves a lead. Lucky7 then choose to go downstairs for their defense first. They do make a rotate hold between the laundry room and the B site to begin with the C4, and the rest of their reinforcements will start being placed in pretty standard locations so far. They don't have a castle, so we're not expecting to see a crazy strong meeting room hold. I expect we'll see those trapdoors all reinforced normally and as expected early on. But there's still a possibility they try and light hold it. They'll leave one open, they'll play in there and try and get one quick pick and then sprint away to safety. Skyboot, who has played aggressively and spawns in previous round, has opened up a couple of doors and opened up a couple of angles towards some spawn locations. One out towards that front street, Sangor was close too. Bibu dodges through some shots of his own. Spark gets a quick kill onto Ericor, who stayed at his window a little bit too long. Mute has been taken out of the picture with less than 10 seconds off the clock. So, Bibu looks to head forward now from the back of the green silo, and up in this top tower, Prox is there. Skybu does pick up one. Bibu exposed himself, but gets inside quickly without taking a single shot of damage here from a Prox. The aim wasn't quite there. With Capitao down, we're back to a 4v4 now.
I understand the use of Hollow for general purpose use, but when you're trying to peek out the tower onto probably one of the farthest parts of the map that you can, maybe use an ACOG?
Yeah, that was their plan all along. The operator setup wasn't right for him. Bibu being pulsed through this meeting room wall inside the kitchen now then. He is droning in this direction. Skybu is just keeping an eye on him, making sure there's no one else around him. Making that his focus. Bibu has now moved. Skybu actually turns and runs away from it as well. He goes back. He's going to notice the heartbeat is no longer there. He's not sure where it is.
Pretty
now
clear,
Supremacy have taken and moved their attention to the top floor. So despite picking off all those roamers from the early peaks, despite losing one of their own, they're not confident in the rest of the map being completely clear, and they still haven't cleared Skyber from meeting here. So they're not even close to being ready to actually pressure the bomb sites yet.
Majority of teams in this situation, what they do is they drone out upstairs and they push in with one guy and okay, we've confirmed upstairs is clear, now let's move on with our lives. These guys are taking a little bit too long with their methodical clear. And unfortunately, that means they're not going to have enough time to set themselves up on the site and just slowly push their way in with smokes and get the bomb plant. They're going to have to rush it.
So, Heartbeat's being picked up again by Skybu as they get closer to the meeting hall again. Minute left on the clock, and yeah, they're going to have to start rushing down the front staircase. Rafael is on the hatch. Oh, Skybu gets a little bit too aggressive. He can peek around and doesn't get the hatch in time. And gets back into safety. If he didn't go for that person in garage, the person that didn't actually know he was there, he could have killed that thermite while he was planting the charge. As it is, he's tracking a bunch of heartbeats in the lobby now, but they also all know he's back here. He's got help now, though. He's got Jaeger in there with him, so there's two of them in the meeting hall, and they have control of it. It's not that they're at the door at the back. It's not that they're far way out. They are right up front and looking to push into the lobby in seconds' notice. Bibu is trying to hold the angle and knock them off from one side, cover his teams as they rush on in, but Aizen is picking up the kills downstairs. Sangreal has fallen. Lucky7 have got 20 seconds left that they need to hold this site for, and that's it. Spark gets picked off as he's trying to hold from the front staircase. Bibu tries to rotate away from meeting, and that's a second for Skybu. While Rafael got downstairs to finish off a prox, Aizen's got a shotgun waiting for him to lock out the round.
Skybu gave Bibu a boo again. That was a great flank by Skybu, really well calculated. I was thinking to myself, well, what is he going to do now? He's stalemated in meeting hall and he can't stop his teammate, or he can't stop the enemy attacking straight into the site. And he found a way. It was a good job. And now, not a super heavy roamer strat. What we've seen from a lot of teams on Oregon is instead of just defending all the way into the basement, they'll try and hold all the way upstairs and force their way out in armory and, you know, be a little bit too aggressive. But that particular hold, they kept control of meeting, but pretty much nothing else. And because Lucky7 never actually really pressured into meeting, the Supremacy never really pressured into meeting. It gave Lucky7 the ability to just easily hold and eventually explode with their aggression and deny them the site. And again, they wasted a little bit too much time trying to clear upstairs.
So, we lost a couple of players very early on to spawn peaks, and successful and unsuccessful spawn peaks on both sides for the last defense of this basement that Lucky7 just went with. Supremacy, while they were the first one, or Bibu was the first one to make these aggressive peaks on Consulate, while he was out there in the very first round jumping through windows. They are playing a little bit more reserved here in Oregon. They are staying inside. They are looking for these cameras to figure out where these attackers are coming in first, as he has Zephyr on this upper floor with him, trying to find an opening. Brock's pushing in from construction alone at the moment. Has a long way to go without actually coming across any defending players. We'll see if and what kind of impact he can make from this angle. Zephyr and Bibu now starting to get droned, now starting to be pressured on the upper floors, and well, we'll have to start thinking about moving a little bit once those drones come and find them. Bibu ducked deep in the showers, will be safe for a little bit longer, but Zephyr having a little bit more of an issue.
And see this, 2 minutes left on the clock, already lobby drop open. They don't have control necessarily of lobby completely yet, but they didn't waste any time this time. They're not roaming, or they're not trying to clear out roamers that don't exist.
Prox rotates from his position in blue to the back staircase, darts around, and as he survives the shots coming out his way for a little while, does one back towards that Echo, but it's nothing too serious. Now the pressure is pushing from the B side, and Zephyr has an opportunity to step up and take a maze out from the front side of the map. Supremacy's mobility is starting to show. Lucky7 spreading their attack over two different halves of the map too. Starting to become a little bit of their downfall, as we saw.
Bit of miscommunication there on Lucky7's part. It looked like he tried to get that wall open to vault through it, but the sledge would not come back.
Yeah. Rafael checking the Valkyrie cameras and looking for what might be coming their way. Zephyr still running free upstairs and gets a second kill onto a prox this time now, so the roamers that Supremacy have had weren't found and were not dealt with properly by Lucky7. Erico there does a lot of damage to Zephyr but can't kill him. He will be assisted by Skybu to get the kill though. They don't seem to realize that Bibu is still around here. There's still a pulse on this floor. They're happy with killing their Jaeger, who has already killed two of their teammates, but they have gone straight back to focusing attention on the site below. And Bibu is still free roaming upstairs.
Wow. Now Bibu...
Skybu takes down Spark from this back hatch. They are now switching up, and it does look like B is going to be the focus for Lucky7. That does make it harder for Bibu to actually impact them now, because he's got to come all the way through meeting hall. There's no one in the lobby for him. So it's a 3v3, and right now Bibu is a null factor. He needs to get closer in these last 40 seconds. But there's a smoke and an echo on the site, and those two can hold people outside for a long, long time. Charges being popped by Sangreal right in the side. Aizen was in, and he has to sprint through the smoke and gets a good kill onto Sangreal in return for it. Now Rafael up the front side of the site is alone. He does get a good kill on Skybu, who's stuck in barbed wire in the corridor, but Aizen's there on his right hand side. Misses the shots as he's going for the reload, but the plant's coming down inside the site. Aizen's low. Bibu has dropped through the meeting hall hatch. Does kill the planter, and now Aizen is alone against two. Taking the fight into the corridor. He's very low, but he grabs one. It's now a 1v1 against Rafael. Can't quite get the reaction in time, didn't know where Rafael was coming from, and Rafael will get the defuse and the round for Supremacy.
As he said, the not clearing the roamers from Lucky7, in fact, actually costing the round there. I was expecting it to be just an efficient take straight into the lobby drop, and just to wait for the roamers to come to you. But instead, they tried to force their way in through the meeting hall for some reason, through the meeting hall drop into box, and it just ended up costing them. They forced that Jaeger out of meeting hall, which was where he was initially roaming, but he just went into garage and kept trading. There wasn't enough of a decisive idea coming out from Lucky7 to win them that round. And now we're going to see exactly what you predicted at the beginning of the match, a rear tower defense, which we don't see a lot, but it comes out from time to time.
Comes out when you're trying to just throw someone off, just trying to surprise them a little bit. I don't think it'll be the go-to defense for every choice Lucky7 have here without the basement, but they'll play it once, they might succeed. If they do, doesn't matter, they get around, great. They'll go on to meeting hall next, they go back downstairs next. But, sorry, bedrooms next and downstairs next. If they don't succeed, alright, they've still got a couple of rounds, it's only 3-1, go back to normal defenses and try claw it back. Right, it's rarely seen as that consistent go-to second choice.
And it looks like Valkyrie's going to try and get a camera out there somewhere. About to find out where.
Yeah, as soon as the round starts, she'll sprint out that back door, throw a camera somewhere, and then dart on back in.
Looks like on the tower.
Yeah, looks like she'll throw it directly onto it. Up nice and high. Supremacy then spawning over towards Junkyard, going to clear through this entire half of the map first. Yes, attacking the tower can be safe, but it requires a lot of repelling, it requires a lot of window play, and if you haven't cleared this half of the map and there's someone hanging around here with an ACOG, there's a few free kills for them to pick you off as you repel. So they need to make sure they've got this side under their control before they really can attack the tower. Once again, there is a Pulse lurking around and checking the nearby. He doesn't have to go too far when they're holding this because the 9-meter range for that hobby sensor covers almost all of the back end of the tower.
So they've opened up both of the drop downs in the meeting hall, but they don't actually have anyone in position to utilize them as of now. And they also reinforced that skybridge, so their bandit can't just rotate through skybridge. All
the drones do come and find him inside master bedroom, and Bibu will be there afterwards to trade with Ericor, actually straight 1-for-1 on each other. Capital has lost half of his health in that exchange as well. I believe there might have been friendly fire vaporing past the bandit. But either way, they haven't got control of the master bedroom area now. As I said, they now might be a little bit more free to repel inside the tower when they're ready for it. But here's a maze dropping into the basement.
Prox is in position in meeting hall to actually utilize that retreat and deny them access from the inside of the building. Now, it looks like Supremacy is playing right into Lucky7's hands here with this attack because they're coming from inside. And the way that Lucky7 is set up to hold this particular bomb site is from, well, inside. With all that utility spent on meeting hall, I'm not sure it's the right decision from Supremacy. Maybe go trying for an outside attack, and it looks like they're doing just that now.
Yeah, they're going up and over now. They've got control of the floor above. They're at least trying through, possibly through attic. Yeah, they're on top of the attic now, and they are going to give these windows play a go. So, lower level being opened up there by Sangrel. Spark is on top and grenading through the upper levels. The upper levels, as they are occupied by a castle, I believe, looking at the icons.
Yeah, Supremacy realized, okay, they're defending me from meeting hall. We don't need to pressure from meeting hall. Let's try taking it from
Spark
inside.
takes a prox down, but then Asian trades wreck on Rafael. Castle is up there on the top and is going to be the one that Spark has to deal with. He's still 3v3 with 40 seconds on the go, though, and Amaze with his shotgun in hand can take Zephyr out. There is a lot of shotguns on this defensive lineup because this small 30-second engagement, they're going to come out on top. Spark will fall as Sangor is now the last man standing. Skyboo's above, but he's completely ignored what's happening below, and that allows Amaze to flank up with his shotgun and take the round for Lucky7. Keep us in a 2-2 scoreline.
Good adaptation by Supremacy, but ultimately they forced themselves in through only 2 lanes in particular. Well, 3 lanes, I guess, technically, through the outside door, the window on the second floor, and oh, that's it. 2 lanes. So yeah, they just didn't spread themselves out quite enough. They couldn't deal with the guy who was playing at the balcony at the very tippity top. Especially, he applied too much pressure to the guys coming inside. They had to look up, and there were people down.
So, keeping it at 2-2. Fuse back in the mix here for the attacking squad of Lucky7. They know that they're going to be back breaching this top floor. They know that Supremacy are going to be up here. And with castle barricades in some of these spots, that actually gives them free fuses.
I'm assuming that they're using the fuse specifically because of castle, because it is nice when you have a fuse on that big window to be, because obviously there's going to be a frost trap, as we can tell, and barbed wire on the other side of that window, and just one fuse charge and it's all gone.
Yeah, these guys are all gone, and also taking control of the kids' bedroom, the B-bomb side, the big site. They can put a fuse charge on either window and empty that room largely too. Does require a little bit of control of big tower and a Vatic, but it's not the toughest task in the world. Supremacy's defense then wrapping up the last couple of seconds as the few reinforcements have finished off and the drones start to come out. Zephyr still aggressively peeking the back towards this tower. Skybu is heading in that direction, but he's going to rappel up the tower before he comes into sightline here for that Jaeger.
Oh,
can't see the hole in the window, gets it above, and he does go for the fire. Skybu picks Zephyr off while mid-rappel. Slowly down,
that's just
out of the picture.
That's just evidence that these two teams know each other too well.
So, Miracle's drone inside 8, starts to scout through the room itself. Now covers that to be clear. The big window has been opened completely. Barbed wire and frost trap still there underneath it.
Interestingly, the fuse charge did not get the barbed wire, and I'm assuming it was a fuse charge based on those
explosion marks. Yeah, it's a fuse. As it is, fuse is now rotated around. I think he's on the kid's window. Spark picks off a kill onto a Prox down in the basement. Oh, Prox was solo pushing him. Capital trying to find this Valkyrie, trying to flush her out of this basement alone.
If you remember last time, Prox decided not to push into the Valkyrie shotgun wisely. This time, since he did that, it's one man off the board for the attackers.
Yeah, so that advantage they picked up, Skybu picked up by taking out Jaeger is gone.
Yeah.
He does drone straight into kids and is immediately killed off. More fuse charges coming through now. Jumped into the A window, defuser straight into a bear trap. Confidence in that fuse charge to have cleaned the room out should not have been there. Fuse charge goes into generator room now, decimates the floor of that, but there's again no one close enough by. Rafael had danced down the back stairs, so no serious damage to players. And it's now 3v4 with a minute 15 on the clock. Drones are starting to run low here for the attacking squad. Fuse charge, there is one remaining. These windows are not reinforced though. The Maze does put it down. Starts to put it off. Shotgun shells coming out, but not going to be there in time. Smoke has to turn and run. But again, nothing too serious.
Still barbed wire on that window. It's going to be very dangerous for Skybu vaulting in here.
He does vault in, stuck in the barbed wire. The shot's coming through from behind the bomb by the Rafael, though you're going to miss. And May is now prone outside this connector window. The diffuser's been picked up, but the man is still stuck in barbed wire. Nice play there from Aizen as he flanks around on the window. Sango tries to push towards B. Wasn't expecting Skybu to aggressively push inside the kids. He's now still got the diffuser in here, and with 30 seconds on the clock, might want to start putting it down. Bibu stuck in master bedroom. The connector is covered by fuse. Thermite was there too, but gets taken out by Spark. Shotgun from below, I believe. Yeah, Spark now coming up the back staircase. Bibu coming from master bedroom. They are pinned quite away from this diffuser itself, and one of them only has a shotgun. Bibu shooting that drone does give his location away, but Fuse is unsure of whether he needs to check this window to attic or the window to connector. Then it Spark has darked into generator room. Skybu does trade a lot of fire with Bibu and eventually wins that fight. Spark though picks around, does down him, but Skybu's SMG-11 headshot gives Lucky7 the lead.
An excellent round by Skybu. I think that was a 3K. A great job by him. Entered into the site, just didn't care about the barbed wire in the window, and oddly enough wasn't traded back on. When you're stuck in barbed wire, it's incredibly easy to kill you, and I would have expected a little bit more aggression from the defender, especially playing behind the B-bomb.
Lucky7 up at 3-7, 3-2 rather, as they're now looking to head downstairs, back to a more standardized bomb site.
Yes.
They did pull off that victory in the tower, but now it's time for something more familiar, and if they are as confident there as they are before, we could be looking at map point, series point.
I think it was really that tower defense that gave them the confidence to push into the, to win that upstairs attack. And look at that Skybu up there at the top of the kill board.
Fire this map.
Absolutely destroying right now.
So, as their defense for downstairs begins to take shape, they also have no castles, no solid, strong meeting hold with those reinforcements, those lock-ins are there, but we did see it well executed from Supremacy in their last attempt without the castle. They still had a pulse in there, they still used his information, they still used some reinforcements for it, and while he couldn't quite make an impact into the lobby the way they wanted, he could still rotate down later on in the round.
Interestingly, for the most part, throughout this entire matchup and all the maps, when we have seen Castle, he kind of feels like he's more a detriment to the defenders, the way they're using them, than the attackers. They're not really wasting any time because the attackers tend to take areas where the castles aren't actually in place, and then they use them in the end, to their advantage.
So, Bibu up towards this top floor. Ericor did put Mute Jammer underneath the window, but the drones were already inside. They already had sight of him. They already were clear of that Mute Jammer. So they've been chasing him around this upper floor for a little while now. And in a moment, they'll give Bibu the all clear to jump in through that A window. Ericor pinned deep inside this kid's bedroom at the moment. They want to make sure of that, make sure there's no one else lurking around to try and trade him back before Bibu goes on in to try and take that fight. Drones up and over, wants to confirm for himself that Ericor's still in there. He has picked off a couple of kills on the drones. Now Rafael will send one more up and confirm it again. He's got to rotate down into the kitchen, but Bibu's in. Sparks at the back staircase now too. Spray's coming through the wall. Does take him with one bullet, but nothing serious. They don't want to push straight through this doorway. More bangs are coming through the wall. Spark gets a great shot just as he tries to drop down the hatch to take Mute out. Only took them 1:10. There's not a lot of time at all. So Supremacy can now continue droning and clearing the top floor and start to look to pressure the site. Or rather, the meeting hall, which is what they have to clear first.
Still a lot of hurdles for Supremacy to jump over here. With Skybu playing in the meeting hall, he's gonna, if Ash pressures that wall, she's gonna get C4. Actually, he doesn't have a C4 anymore, rather. So.
Maybe loses the heartbeat at the top of the staircase, looks to head on up here now. The wall is still closed. Zephyr's grenade will take a maze down inside the site. That's the smoke gone too, and smoke on this Oregon basement is a very, very powerful operator, as I'm sure everyone knows. So to have him gone at 1:15,
yeah,
it's going to really challenge this Lucky7 team. They've still got 3 up, 2 of them on the middle floor in the meeting hall. Pulse tracking the heartbeats around the lobby, does get spotted by a drone and has to fall back. Valkyrie alone downstairs, but I do believe she is holding a shotgun, which can be very powerful while solo.
It looks like we're seeing an attack that we haven't really seen a whole lot of this match so far.
Zephyr wins the firefight onto Skybu, and Supremacy are looking stronger and stronger to level this out in a 3v3. Aprox thinks about rotating down the back staircase, but knows it's too late to do that. Comes back up into meeting. Supremacy do send Spark in to deal with him. Spark will lose that fight and drop. That gives him a chance to come down. Firebolt into Laundry, but Azen can sneak around it. Looks for the planter, does stop the plant, but immediately traded out by Rafael. Aprox now has 3 to find. One of them is very low, one of them has the diffuser and is inside the site. Zephyr's though, they line up! He takes down the diffuser. Did he see Zephyr still pinned in that corner? He didn't, he takes his eyes off it. Zephyr will peek around and get us on 3 and 3. Supremacy do successfully attack it down to the wire.
Now that attack, again, we haven't seen a whole lot of. We've seen the lobby taken, we've seen the lobby open, but we've never actually seen the lobby drop and stairs utilized to the fullest. And that was an excellent take from Supremacy. They got rid of the roamer that was in their way, the mute, and then they isolated. They denied meeting hall and ultimately just pretty much cut off all the rest of the roamers and moved their way into the site, winning their engagements with the anchors. There was not much more to it. And that's really what you want to see. That's a systematic take that you want to see from any team.
Bombs from being defused by attackers.
So 3 rounds to 3, and it's time for Lucky7 to attack Supremacy's basement again. Supremacy similarly played it to the way Lucky7 did before, to a big success. Their upstairs roamer, however, wasn't a mute this last time round. They also have that double site hold of Smoke and Echo. Again, 2 very similar operators that have great area denial, great area control, and can lock off the 2 ends of this site, A and B, in some situations solo.
Yeah.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, Smoke can do either of the sites solo for about a good minute by
Attackers
himself.
are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
So,
Attackers
last minute reinforcements done, locked off and rotated on down, leaving Pulse and Jaeger upstairs again. Right now they're in the meeting hall as before. Zephyr and Bibu locking themselves in there. Like that for Aprox. They've noticed that they've started to 2-punch the classroom window. They've done Bibu, what a shot! Takes down the Ash as he peeks in and out from behind that white van. Bibu going to be happy with that. Starts to head towards the back tower. Will have caught that heartbeat sensor onto Skybu on the staircase. Skybu ducks just far enough back up the stairs as Bibu's spray helps to come through to survive it. Tries to return some of his own. Does see Bibu there, but will not land any serious damage. Skybu, as we saw, 10 and 3 right now, has been putting in the hours for Lucky7. Does see Pulse on that drone, quickly gets off of it, does some more damage to Bibu, but can't pin him. He's got him locked in the corner, but can't quite finish him off. There's no one else around able to support this either. They're still cautious about the rest of the map. Zephyr was up on this floor, but Zephyr has fallen down to the basement now too. They're going to soon realize that this Pulse is alone, And while Skybu doing a great job of moving him around and tagging him left and right, someone else could be helping. They could have got the kill by now. Cautious of the hole that Sledge put in the wall means he does try and fall back and sprint away, and Skybu came through the doorway instead. Finally does get the kill onto Bibu. Minute 37 to go then. 4v4. Meeting Hall lost
A bomb has been located.
and in control of the attacking team. You can start to hedge forward. As before, they opened up that front lobby hatch very early on, even if they didn't have full control of the area.
They're not actually utilizing it though. They're just deciding to try and take Meeting Hall and dominate the entire upper floor of the map instead of pushing their way in isolatedly straight into the site.
Well, it has kept the attention of this Valkyrie that is now stuck underneath it with her shotgun.
Yep.
Keeps Echo up that front end too. So having it open, just the threat of someone being there is doing something.
Absolutely.
Jaeger stuck out in blue now then, playing with his drone, keeping an eye on it for a little while as Ericor is blowing hatches above his head, dropping a Claymore in Meeting. Fuse is up here too, and Maze, I haven't seen him use any charges yet. There's not many places he can charge to actually make an impact on this bottom floor. There's a lot of indestructible floors. So Ericor tempted with the idea of dropping down that hatch, but there's still a Jaeger inside blue, 35 seconds to go, and Lucky7 haven't picked the site they really want to pressure here. Looks like we've decided to go up front now as Skybu takes down Rafael. Shotgun here on Spark, still sitting right underneath the hatch, and they don't seem to have droned this out probably. They don't seem to be aware of it. Asian rather comes around the corner, sees the top of his head. It does get shotgunned in, but nothing serious. He dances away from the C4, and now he has to fall back towards the back of the site. It reveals himself to the hatch, so that a Maze is above, and as he drops down, he picks up the kill. Sangor brings his shotgun around to kill off that dropper. Ericor picks off Zephyr, but now Sangor is alone, and they've come down the front staircase to put Lucky7 in the lead again.
In the end there, Spark had every opportunity to kill at least 3 different people, but just unfortunately couldn't take them. Got a little bit unlucky in the end there. And now, like you said, Lucky7 in the lead. Looking pretty bad for Supremacy. 4-3, and they will be defending, I think, upstairs? No, rear tower again.
They're looking to give it another shot. They were confident in its success. Not doing it as a one-off surprise pick, not doing it as a ace in the hole. Giving it another go. They're bringing that castle back to the table, who was very important in how they held it earlier on.
I think overall this is probably the wrong decision. Supremacy is a team that is known for their adaptation, and if they're gonna play this again, I think Supremacy is gonna catch on to it. But we'll find out in a moment here.
So the setup towards Meeting Hall starts to take shape. The setup above Meeting Hall starts to take shape. Lucky7, they're going to have been spotted out. The spawns from Supremacy all started over towards Junkyard. They all cleared the master bedroom. They cleared through their top edge, and then started to pressure the site. But they couldn't deal with the 3 shotguns that were waiting for them once they got inside the tower itself. Have they learned from that? Are they in a better position to deal with these 3 shotguns? Do they realize now how to deal with them? Do they know where to sit to stay at range and keep them away?
Defender has left the area of operation.
Those are very, very, very predetermined cameras.
Yep. So Bibu heads straight across and up towards the building. Will move his drone through Kid's bedroom to check there's no one in there as he rappels on up. Upstairs on this top floor, over on the attic and over by the tower, Valkyrie does sit. But the actual master bedroom and the Kid's bedroom, the big sites, are empty. And Supremacy should not have to worry too much about how long it takes to get through that. Most of the defending team are still very close or in the main tower now this time around. As we talked about how small and confined that space can be, you'll often see teams spreading out far from it, but they're leaving everyone close by with shotguns.
Supremacy is making the adaptations, but maybe not for the better. Lucky7 do have cameras on every outside part of this tower, and they have complete visual around it. And given that Supremacy is playing the outside angles, especially on the top of the tower, that might be a disadvantage.
Ericor down in the basement, and just like before, the 2 Meeting Hall hatches are open, so if someone wants to come down and join him, they can do it in a heartbeat. But for now, he's just waiting for someone to step out a bit too far. Minute 45 and Supremacy.
They haven't decided on anything really yet.
Don't know where or what they're doing.
They have someone on the roof of tower, and they have a couple of people addressing the inside of the building.
They're heading up to the top of Armory, has some sights on the window. Ericor has moved towards the south side of the map, could come up the front lobby staircase in a few moments' time when they're ready for it. They are now starting to actually pressure the tower itself, but
I think a lot of it's going to come down to whether or not they can get this castle on the balcony, or rather the scaffolding, or catwalk.
yeah. And also, of course, fighting these fights on the windows with the shotgunners is going to be a challenge. Spark throws his grenade up through the window and it bounces down, lands next to Bibu. Does a significant amount of damage to the Ash here instead. She has the breach charge on the window, but is not ready to blow it yet. She wants to drone and see what's inside as Zephyr repels up the other side. Prox thinking about peeking up into the lobby, but he already has a bandit there who will walk straight into that Claymore.
Attackers have located a bomb.
And get charged down. So Ericor's patient rotates. Do not pay off. Breach charge opens up into the middle of the B site, and Amaze immediately is there with his shotgun. The drone gets thrown straight in, and he did not see him at all. Amaze jumps out, free kill onto Bibu, and then gets back inside to safety. As the trade kill comes through, Aizen picks off Rafael because he stands on his head. Zephyr, however, did win his fight as he goes into the top floor, so it is a 3v3. Top floor of the site is in now control of Supremacy, and that's really powerful. The fire will go down to the back corner and take down Aizen. Zephyr gets another great kill onto the staircase. This is great for Supremacy, and the plant's going down. But Spark is not aware of the attic. Sangul, however, is there to trade it. Supremacy take us into overtime.
We will be seeing overtime, like you said, on the third map, 4-4. Both these teams trading back and forth constantly. Both extremely skilled teams, oh my gosh.
See how important it is to get control of just that top ring of that.
Yeah, you get control of upstairs on tower, and it's pretty much over.
They lose 2 and 3 people in that middle floor jumping in through his windows, but as soon as Capital had control of that top floor, those shotguns couldn't touch him. He had complete control.
Now, the thing is that Supremacy, or rather, was it Lucky7? No, yeah, it was Lucky7. So the thing is Lucky7 knew that as soon as you get control of upstairs that you lose control of the entire tower. And they put those cameras out there to try and counter that, but unfortunately I'm not sure what happened. Castle still could not win the engagement with the Capital repelling upstairs, and as such, even with the cam help, and as such, that's pretty much why they lost that round.
So, 4 rounds to 4. And Lucky7 choose to go to the safer, more practiced basement defense as their first outing in overtime. Supremacy's attack lineup is looking very similar and very familiar. Nothing too crazy coming from here, nothing surprising out of it. Question is who and where do Lucky7 put their non-site defenders?
They're going to be holding
have been very mobile
again.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same as they did last time. And they will be having, it looks like Skybu playing on the other end of the map. Okay. Now the thing is the players who are on the kitchen end or the upstairs, bedroom sort of side of Oregon, as soon as meeting hall gets cut off from lobby, they are stuck. They cannot go anywhere. There's no way for them to get back to the site. So the best that they can do is waste some time.
So, that's exactly what they're trying to do. Skybu in meeting, holding firm. Jaeger in the back tower, making a few kill holes towards the front of meeting as well to try and help out from a distance while he goes up the tower, and also possibly maybe peek out from the top tower windows. But again, he's doing it with the hollow sight, so like we saw before, not always the easiest shot to land.
There have been some incredible hollow sight shots though today, especially that one leading onto White Van out front earlier.
So, Spark coming through the west side of the map very quickly. Jones leading the way for him, gets through the kitchen, gets through the showers and the toilets pretty proficiently. And then with only 2 minutes left to go, they can start pressuring onto, again, the site and the meeting hall itself. They've got information on the meeting hall. Raphael's drone just went all the way through it, does spot Skybu out and get out safely. So once again, they know he's in here. Nothing too crazy surprising. But how do they do it? Capital coming around the backside now. Sledge still coming through from kitchen. Pulse just happily sprinting around the site, checking everything above and below and around him. Raphael's going to use one of the 2 thermo charges he has on the kitchen wall. Going to take that out. Skyboot does catch his heartbeat just as he gets up to there. Now he's going to hear the thermite charge actually start to... No, he didn't even hear it. He doesn't even realize that wall behind him is wide open now, and he's going to pay the price of it if Spark can land the shots, and he can. Skyboot, so focused on looking for those heartbeats, they didn't realize the thermite charge was going off right behind him. And they get a free kill onto him. It has taken them 2 minutes to still make that happen though, so the basement has still only got a minute to be held, and as we said before, with Smoke and Echo down there, a minute hold is very easy for those 2 guys to do.
But I think we're going to be seeing this, again, the standard take on lobby drop. They're going to lay down their fire arrows, they're going to lay down their own smokes, and they're going to try and go for that plan. Now it is, again, like you said, it comes a lot down to the Echo drone and the smokes on whether or not they'll be able to stop the plant.
There's the firebolts going down, and they don't seem to realize that Aprox is still in meeting too. The plant is going to go on through, but the Echo drone is there. Easy cancel. Goes for a double shot. Does lose the Echo Drone though. Aprox appears up through Meeting Hall. Picks up 1 kill. Looks for the second of the Bibu and loses out onto that. But Zephyr has already picked up one up in the site as he trades with Asian. Ericor pushes forward to take out Zephyr, but the plant has gone through. Sangrel is still stuck on the plant spot because he's inside smoke charges and will be taken out by Ericor, who can now sit right on top of the diffuser. Pulse is dead, but smoke is down there with it. They pick up the front staircase. Ericor will fall. Ash now has sightlines onto Asian. Can't quite land the shots. It's a maze, sorry, as he picks up the front staircase. Lost track of where Ash went. Falls down as he strands himself in the lobby, and Supremacy take the lead in overtime.
Bibu playing just as far back as he needs to, just as safe as he has to clutch out that round. I think that was a 4K.
Yeah,
impressive round from Bibu.
Amaze made the call to sprint up the staircase aggressively. Went to go find the Ash. He just killed the Ericor in the staircase. Going to be low, going to be scattered, going to be low on ammo. Went for the reload, but Bibu, as you say, fell back just far enough that he had the time to get back if he'd gone for an instant defuse, but also drew him that far up the staircase that he was out of cover, that he was in the open, and when Bibu was ready to re-peek and take the fight, completely open and exposed.
We actually saw earlier Bibu was thinking of going down that drop, but Capitao decided to take his place, and because of that particular decision, because of 1 extra second being ahead by 1 extra second, Capitao dropped. He died, but ultimately Bibu was then allowed to clutch out the round. A bit of luck and a bit of good reasoning by Bibu there.
So, Supremacy now for their defense and possible map-winning round also get to hold the basement. Near identical operator setups from them.
Now we have been seeing from Lucky7, their basement attacks have been way more spread out than Supremacy. They take every single drop, they even pressure from construction. And it's been it has worked, but for the most part, it's been a little bit more shaky. Even if they do win the round, it's always been down to the wire. Whereas we've been seeing from Supremacy that just that lobby take works for them every single time.
Deploying sensor.
The attackers are on their way. Bibu nearly takes Zephyr out as he starts to make this kill hold towards the back staircase, but Zephyr gets up reasonably unscathed. Attackers are making their way forward. Skybu's already at the back tower. Prox has now come to join him. Amaze is going to head this way as well, over from the west junkyard spawn. And Zephyr is already dead, taken out of that back tower by Skybu. Again, definitely the MVP for this map for Lucky7, regardless of the result. Skybu is on fire here on Oregon. And now Bibu has to hold the meeting hall room alone. Bibu already picked off and homed out by Skybu before. Exactly, yeah, this is not the first time we've seen this. Skybu came out on top that time. This time Bibu, however, goes up into the attic. He doesn't have a rotate hole out on this floor, but I do believe he's still holding onto his C4.
That wall is not reinforced, is it?
No, neither wall are reinforced.
Which means that Sludge could easily have just gone into attic to try and take control initially. But now he's at a disadvantage because if he tries that, Pulse is going to trade him on, or trade him back as he hammers.
It is Lucky7 have pushed into meeting with more than just Skybu this time. He's got help from Aprox. They do get in much faster.
I don't think they realize where Pulse is.
No, they're cautious. Now they do. They're keeping an eye on it, but they don't seem to know for sure. They think he may have dropped. He has got this sightline through the drop. He does see some feet. If he gives this away, he's going to go for Ericor. He does get the down, but can't get the kill, and now that he's given his spot away. Grenades are being pulled. The Prox is spraying in from the back tower, tagging out Bibu's feet, and he is very much pinned in here. Minute 23 to go. He's burning some good time keeping them here for a little bit longer, but he needs to keep it up. Aprox pushing up. Amaze is going to go. The wall has been blown open, and there's the kill for Aprox. Bibu is down. 3 defenders left up with a minute 10 to go. 5 attackers, all very healthy. Ericor's been revived and has that near 50 health to go with. Rafael on his drone in the front site can stay where he is because the hatch has not been opened. The pressure is looking what it's come to be. Now the hatch is going to open up. Lucky7 have angles on all kinds of spots downstairs. They just need to pick the right one. Sangul going to try and hold the backside with the smoke grenades and more or less solo. Spark throws his C4 up through the front hatch. He's low, took some damage trying to do it. And is dancing underneath it with that shotgun in tow again. Gets back into the laundry now. 35 seconds and the attackers looking like they're shaping up this front side of the site. The diffuser is in Hibana's hands. Capitao has already dropped. He's in the back corridor on the floor. Aprox takes Rafael out, and that's the Echo drone gone, no longer an issue. Hibana takes the drone, then the diffuser down towards the B site, takes the kill onto Sangrel, as Aiden finishes off Spark for a perfect round for Lucky7, all 5 still alive.
Oh boy, third map, 5-5, final round. And I think we're going to see a defense on upstairs coming out from Supremacy.
Now,
I'm all but certain we're going to see an upstairs defense from Supremacy.
I'm not, because it's
Or sorry,
7
rather,
defense.
Lucky 7.
Yeah, they've tried the tower. Once it
Do you think
worked,
they're gonna
once it failed, I would
You think they're going to do tower?
expect a safety of upstairs,
Laundry
but
room.
they didn't succeed in their defense of the basement, so they can go straight down there again.
Now, it's interesting that I think, okay, Lucky 7 started out their defenses
Attackers
with
need to
tower.
locate and defuse
And then
bombs.
they opted for an upstairs defense and then their basement defense. So it's interesting that Lucky 7 has decided to default to the basement defense as, you know, their side of choice. Now again, Skyboo having a wonderful match, 14 kills, absolutely fantastic. Like you said, there have been some fantastic players all throughout this match, getting some amazing frags, and we're down to the very last round that could possibly get to. The longest match possible.
10 seconds to insertion.
It looks like we're going to be seeing from Lucky 7. They're going to be trying to hold Meeting Hall. This is pretty much the same thing we've been seeing from both teams. They're going to put a lot of barbed wire, a lot of reinforcements up there to try and deny access to Meeting Hall from lobby. That's going to force, I'm going to expect Supremacy to just do their lobby take, which has been working for them. I think 2 times out of 2 they've won that lobby take. So again, a little confusing that Lucky 7 decided to try and defend lobby. Maybe they have a trick up their sleeve. Maybe they're trying to make an adaptation and they've realized the way that Supremacy is making their attack.
For their sake, I hope they do. But we'll find out whether that's true or not. Top floor being droned out then here by Bibu, by Ash, making sure there's no one looking in these far corners, making sure it is as empty as it seems and sounds. And it is. Skyboo is in Meeting Hall once again, like he's been multiple times. But he's no deeper in. Checking and looking for these different angles. This time around, I'm sure he's going to pay more attention to that thermite sound if he hears it. The batteries are on the wall there as well to help keep them out of his room even longer. He'll keep those thermite charges off that wall. And Jaeger has come to join him there as we just jumped away. Bibu, though, confident the top floor is clear, is now making his way through the bedrooms and towards the front staircase. Does catch sight of the people moving around towards Meeting. Confident that he can continue on to pressure the downstairs site, though he'll start to open up the floor and look at this front staircase. Skyboo still has Zephyr nearby. Zephyr up on the staircase looking towards the top floor through the attic. Does spray left and right and is close to Bibu but not on target. Neither end being reinforced. Means there's possibility Bibu takes one by accident as that spray went through. Skyboo still in Meeting for now. Still just droning around, checking around what's coming from that way. But Supremacy, as you mentioned, are very confident with their lobby take, very confident with that hatch take, and are starting to set up and get ready for that, despite not having been able to shift these guys out of Meeting.
Well, you don't need to shift them out of Meeting is the thing, and especially since they reinforce those walls, they're trapped there. They can't run their way out into lobby. The best that they can do is walk up this ladder, try to challenge from above, and Ash is stopping that. As long as you can get the players out of the A site, put down your smokes, and just go for a bomb plan, you're good on this attack. And that's the reason it's been working so well for Supremacy. Lucky 7 have, as of yet, not been able to stop it. They haven't figured out how.
So, Skyboo still checking. 40 seconds to go, and there's 5 players alive on both sides. Zephyr's taking a little bit of damage. That Jaeger is low, but not anywhere near dead. Paul starts to climb up the ladder, edges his head just over the top. Bibu spots it, but he does get back down in safety. Skyboo goes for the heartbeat again. Jaeger's come to join him inside Meeting now. Right on the other side of the reinforcement, there's multiple attackers. Dances across the gap, will start taking the fight with Zephyr, and loses. Down he goes. Capitao picking up the first kill of this attack round. But with the fireballs now going towards the corridor, the push is going to start to come in towards the front site through the trap and go for the plant. Smokes are being used to cover both sides, but Rafael comes down and quickly gets 2. Supremacy is starting the plant. They're going to try and suicide in to cancel it, and they do get it cancelled, but they do lose all of their players in the process, and Supremacy advance to our semi-final.